Hello, everybody. Welcome back. We are here. It's Saturday for the third round of the Disc Golf Pro Tour live coverage of the MPO lead card at the Memorial Championship presented by Discraft. Well, that was a mouthful, but today is going to be exciting. We call it Moving Day. We're going to go right into Hole 1 preview, and then we're going to catch up with the guys on Hole 1 before we get into anything else.
Yeah, just real quickly here, hole 1, 381 feet over the water. OB left and right. Water will be into play for these players. This is old hole 18 from the 2018 Memorial Championship, but really a birdie hole for these players looking to start off strong. Let's head directly to that first tee. As the players are getting ready, they've all shaken hands and they are ready to play.
All right, let's do this. Everyone quiet on the tee. Going first, we have Simon, Eagle, Sias, and Yale. First on the box. Everyone welcome, Simon Lazard. Next on the tee, everyone welcome, Eagle, McMahon! Next on the tee, everyone welcome, Sias Elmore! Rounding off the card, everyone welcome, Yale Store!
And there we go. It was great to listen in and feel like we're part of the crowd there. All the excitement, you can hear the crowd already excited for these players to tee off. It's 2:45 tee time with the lead card. I forgot to mention, I'm Valerie Jenkins, and joining me today is 3-time men's world champion and my expert commentator. I'm going to be relying on him to color commentate all the way of the men's lead card. So Nate, give us a little rundown on who we've got playing on this card today.
Yeah, so as we saw there, we have Simon Lazat at 30 under par, our leader, and really has dominated only 6 pars in this tournament. Eagle McMahon at 28 under par. Really the only difference between Eagle and Simon is the fact that Eagle putted it OB on hole 4 yesterday. Otherwise, they'd be tied. Sias Elmore in third place, 26 under par. Really, Sias has shown tremendous resilience in this tournament, keeping up with the 2 leaders, and Yale Store as well at 22 under par. A big separation from these top 3 down to Yale, 4 strokes there. We've already had a couple people jump up, but really those top 3 are locked in. We saw Sias go OB off the tee. But other than that, all three of our other three players are inbound, but with some longer putts.
And we're going to see a lot of this today. I'm going to be making sure to count up how many elevated baskets we're playing on out here, but we're calling Vista the elevated course. Here we go. Eagle McMahon for birdie on hole 1. Gives it a great run there. The disc rolls a little bit past the basket, but manages to stay in bounds. There's definitely that water risk just past the basket. But with these guys needing to birdie every hole, I'm glad he's running for him right off the bat.
Yeah, he definitely will have to run for a putt of that length on this course all day long. Lizotte for birdie. Leaving, coming back right where he left off. Another birdie for Simon Lizotte. And really, as we move our way down this link-style course, we're going to move over a mile away from here as the players get down to the 10th and 11th holes. They really need to start off really quickly and birdie at least 4, if not 5, of these first 5, as they're all birdie opportunities. Again, mentioning Sias went OB off the tee, so he's putting for par here. Sias going to be a little bit nervous. I remember my first couple of times being in these big cards, but Sias has played on film quite a few times, but not in these big moments on these big national level tours.
Off to a rough start, misses that putt to save his par. He'll have a drop-in bogey on this one, and nerves might be playing into it right now. Yale Store gets his birdie as well. And what a funny view right here with the 2 elevated baskets in sight. Yep, like I said, get used to that view.
Yeah, and just back there we see the 18th basket. We're on the old hole 18. There's the new 18 back there, and we'll see that way later in our coverage today. But that is hole 1. Sias just going to be tapping in. Sort of a funny start for our players here on hole 1.
And a lot of action has already taken place with the rest of the field. Let's see the movement here. We can see the arrows of movement heading up and down, but our leaders are still managing to stay strong. And head over to the hole 2 preview, because I know these holes are going to be playing pretty quick today.
Yeah, Val, perfect lead in there. They are going to play these first 5 holes very quickly, 369 feet. Just a hyzer for these players, just a flick of the wrist or a sidearm. We could see, I guess, a hyzer from both sides, but really just trying to avoid those 2 trees on the right. And these are birdie holes for these players. All of these first 5 holes are all par 3s. All between 381 feet and 340 feet. So a lot of birdie opportunities as we go down these first 5 holes.
And we see the player stepping up to the tee with that birdie. Simon is still first on the box.
Yeah, and at this point it would be easier to just say how many pars Simon's had, but he has had 31 birdies and only 6 pars in this tournament. Simon getting caught up just a little bit on that right side. He will have a look for a birdie. Simon's made quite a few long putts in this tournament already, so that's definitely still an opportunity for him.
Yale Store. Also taking the higher hyzer route, coming in through the backside, trying to get a little slide down that side hill. He will be just inside the circle there, looking at a great birdie.
Yeah, having played this tournament so many times, Val, and being in this position quite a few times as well in these lead cards, there is no room for error on these first 5 holes. This course is still very difficult. We have a bunch of par 4s on it, but these first 5 holes, I just can't say it enough. They have to be birdied by our top players. Because if they don't, the players right behind him are certainly doing that.
Catching a little bit of tree there. I think he's sitting around outside the circle. Still available for a birdie putt. Sias Elmore trying to recover after hole one, ends up hanging it a little too far to the right, turning it over and not allowing it to hyzer on back. And while these guys walk up to their next shots here, we're going to head over for a commercial break.
My name is Cody Britton, and it's a hot one out here, which is perfect because we're going to be talking about the heat. One of the great things about the heat is it gives any skill level player the ability to get it up to speed, to get tremendous amounts of glide. The rim fits well in anyone's hand. So one of the things that I love about this disc is how easily I can throw a consistent anhyzer. You can even use it to throw manicured shots through the woods. It's just an all-around phenomenal disc. Check out the heat for yourself today. You can pick one up at discraft.com or your local retailer.
Thank you to Discraft for sponsoring the Disc Golf Pro Tour and being the presenting sponsor of the Memorial Championships. I love the heat. I'd recommend anybody to throw that disc. And as we said, these players are going to be playing these holes really quickly. I mean, they got to get right to work. And we see the players as they size up their shots. I believe Sias will be the first one to line up his putt here on the side hill.
Yeah, and there's absolutely no doubt that these players have been thinking about these holes since they got off the course yesterday at Fountain Hills. Sias, just a little bit of nerves here. It was sort of an aggressive shot on hole one, just a little bit, hanging out a little bit too far to the right. Simon Lizotte here with a long birdie look. Let's see if Simon is as locked in as he has been, as this will give us a good barometer of where he stands going into this here third round.
And he nails it right in the heart. We saw from another camera angle, it was a low ceiling there, but that played to the advantage of Simon's whip and low spin putt. Nailed it, keeping that streak alive.
Yeah, that tells me everything I need to know about where Simon's mind is at the moment right now. Extending that lead for just a moment here. See if Eagle can continue to follow along with Simon as he's done this entire tournament.
Looks so effortless. Eagle McMahon, the pressure is on, and he absolutely can make those putts under pressure.
Yeah, no doubt whatsoever. The guy's showing how good of putters they really are. They can throw 600 feet, but they can still make the putts. Drive for show, putt for dough. They're really showing that putting is still at the top of their game and at the top of their importance list. We have Yale Store here with the CTP 2 holes in a row.
Very nice. And putting is at the top of my importance list. I'd say that. And none of those players were parked. They all made huge birdies. You'll see Sias, the only one carting a par on this hole. But again, still sticking with it here. Here's the leaderboard.
Yeah, and a real quick look here at our top 10 leaderboard, sort of seeing what we've got. Scotty Withers doing what I said needed to be done, starting 5 for 5. You can see him there at 26 under par, jumping up into third. Sias 1 over, Philo Brathwaite 5 for 5, Ricky Wysocki 3 for 5. So players are already starting to move up to that position. Let's take a look at hole 3. Again, very similar to our first two holes. Just 360 feet. Really the big thing these players are trying to worry about is pulling it too far right, maybe potentially going over the fence on the right, avoiding that concrete water drainage area, but really a birdie opportunity for this group of players, definitely.
We haven't talked much about it, but as you can see, the grass is very dry, so I believe these players are going to be playing the skip. So we'll see another big sky hyzer, I'm sure, out of Simon here.
Wow. And you could hear Simon Lizotte say it as well. He said the words, wow. Not really sure what happened there. He yanked it so much, he hit the pine tree, kicking him just into the middle of the fairway. Wow.
As we can see, another elevated basket, and Yale Store pins his drive right underneath it.
And I guess when you have a tournament like this one, Val, things can come down to just the smallest of differences. And Simon Lizotte will definitely not be birdieing this third hole. Eagle McMahon having an opportunity to get that stroke back. He lost on hole 1.
Little bit of a skip there, but he's about 20 feet outside of the basket, giving him the opportunity to get a stroke on Simon, as you just said.
Yeah, Sias needs a birdie here. He needs to just relax, take a deep breath, execute this shot like he just did in practice. A little bit inside, off of the tee, or off of his hand, right there by Eagle. He will have a birdie putt, but I think we can't even take a break here, really. I don't think, because Simon Lizotte's disc is literally only like 80 feet off of the tee, so he should almost be to his disc at this point. And we will eventually get to take a look at what the chase card has done on all of these holes as well as we move forward. But Simon is almost to his disc. I just saw him put his bag down there on the left side. There he is right there.
So unexpected for how nearly perfect he's been playing all week long. Let's hope he can get back into it.
Okay, well, he's done what he needed to do and put it up underneath the basket. But boy, I mean, I just don't even know what to say. I've never even seen that before in all the years I've even played that hole. So
I'm sure I've hit that. I mean, I'm sure I've been there before, so I can't really agree with you, but he made a great recovery there. Just get your par. That's all you can do from way back there with such a short drive. And driving is so important out on this course. You want to be parking these holes, making the putts easy. There's a lot of elevated baskets, as we're saying. So Simon, hopefully he can recover from that, shake it off, move on. There's so much golf left in this round.
Yeah, and you can see how quickly in real time our players are already to their shots. Eagle McMahon ready for his putt, has an opportunity here, as Simon is not going to birdie this hole. And he does just that, right in the heart. That was a solid putt for Eagle McMahon. And we have Sias coming in just to his right. Very similar look. And again, another elevated basket. I think that's 2 out of the first 3.
Sias on the board with his first birdie of the round. Makes up for that bogey. He's sitting at even so far through 3 holes.
Simon out as Yale Store has just parked this hole. It won't even count toward his 1X. He is that close to the basket. We don't have a hole preview for a hole 4 as our players walk over to it. But just to give you an idea, it is 381 feet. As our players are moving over there, we'll take just a look at the top 10 leaderboard, and really most of the field has played those 5 holes. You know, we don't see new names on the board just yet at all.
Yale Store is still hanging in there. We saw Scotty Withers sneak up just past him, but Yale Store 3 for 3 so far. So he's right on pace to keep up with Scotty Withers. And I know he was 5 for 5. So we're going to see a lot of birdies, maybe a lot of shifting as these top level players continue to play throughout the course. And It looks like we're live on the tee once again. Again, quick play. Yale Store is leading us off here.
Yeah, it's funny. They give these players a little bit of space here. It almost seems like a practice round with how quick we're getting to play these holes. Yale having the tee. He is the only player that's gone 3 for 3. Taking it, again, I was saying it was 381 feet. Now it's just surrounded by OB, but that OB is that black ink discs wall that we have, so the players can just use that as a judge to come just inside that. And I think as we come up to Simon Lizotte, it'll be a big judge to see his next drive after the drive that he just threw on hole 3. I'd have been such a big shank that it doesn't even matter and he can just move on from it.
Oh, we see Eagle McMahon. Speaking of a little shank there, he clipped the trees. He landed safely in bounds, but it's interesting to see out of these players. He'll be able to recover, I think, from there, but not a birdie.
Yeah, the branch he hit is only 15 feet off of the tee. Sai is releasing a little bit inside, flirting with that big pine tree, going up and over it. He'll have a long birdie look. Had so much height on that, it just spiked into this quick grass here at Vista del Camino.
Again, it's 381 feet.
This is the big judge, and Simon has hit that same branch that Eagle did and landing well short. That was the big test I was talking about. Boy, couple of sketchy jives from Simon Lizotte here.
Yeah, the door was wide open for Simon to get that stroke back on Eagle, and he follows him up with the same shot there. All right, we got a little bit of action from the chase card. Let's take a look at a couple putts on these elevated baskets.
And if you haven't seen him before, that is Scotty Withers. We're going to see him quite a bit today if he continues to shoot the way that he is. We all know that setup. That's Paul Macbeth. Says for birdie on hole 1. No doubt about it. And we'll see if Paul can make a big run today. We have 6 world championships in this group between Ricky and Paul.
Styling in that pink shirt today. Heading back to our lead card. Here's Simon Lizotte lining up his second shot way down in the middle of the fairway there.
A long jump putt there. You know, Simon can make those. Has made him look at the head on Simon Lizotte right now. This is important for us. He's just sort of dejected after those 2 drives. I mean, he has now back-to-back pars for the first time in this entire tournament.
And here we have Eagle McMahon lining up his second shot as well after clipping the tree. Way outside. He'll have his par there, keeping even with Simon. But yeah, like you said, Simon looks dejected, rejected. There's a lot going through his mind right now. I'm sure the same in Eagle's mind as well. Competition is so high, they cannot be making errors like that.
Yeah, this tournament's going to come down to 1 or 2 strokes possibly, and Simon's just opened the door just a hair. Great look from behind with Sias doing the fist pump as the disc hit the chain, so he knew it right away.
That was an incredible putt. And like I said, door wide open. Sias is running through that fist pumping and slamming that putt in. Also looking at a good birdie opportunity right here. Yale Store is lining up. That was a great view. You know, we see these guys making these putts look so easy, but still, for me, those are tester putts. But for these MPO lead players, That's just as simple as it gets.
Yeah, sketchy play from our lead card, except for Yale Store, 4 under through 4 holes. Our guys just tapping in their pars here. Our leader's tapping in their pars. And we see Simon still shaking his head. He needs to forget about that, move on. And here we do see the scoreboard, the top 10 leaderboard. Philo Brathwaite has birdied the 6th hole, going 6 for 6. We talk a lot about this during this tournament, these big streaks. Scotty Withers, 5 for 5. Yale Store, 4 for 4. So good stuff going on here early on. We'll just take a look at hole 5. And really on here on hole 5, again, not much to talk about. 340 feet dead straight. That pine tree on the right is a mandatory, must go left of it. We used to be able to throw hyzers around it, but not anymore. It really just changes this hole into a mid-range or a putter disc for these players, just controlling it nice and straight to our elevated basket.
Yale Store, like you said, 4 for 4. First on the tee box. Nice smooth drive from Yale. Let's see if he can get that distance dialed in there.
Yeah, and unfortunately for Yale, distance control was an issue. Threw it just a little bit long. That tree is going to block him out. It would be really a miracle at this point for him to make that putt. I don't think he even has a look.
Following it up, turns it over, but not quite as much as he needed. Zayas is going to be outside the circle there. A few claps. People are happy that he's in bounds, but I don't think Zayas is too happy with that shot.
Yeah, I really look at that as a commitment thing. He needed to commit to that shot just a little bit more. And we saw this from Eagle last year, the big sky sidearm. Again, just trying to dial in the distance control at this point, as really there's nothing between him and the basket.
Nothing but a bunch of clouds. Eagle finds his way to the basket, does a little stylish roll right there, but he has a CTP out of the card so far. Simon Lizotte. Let's see how he lines this up. See if he can get it a little bit closer. Dial in that drive, Simon.
Hold it just to the right there. You can see you had a beautiful view over Simon's shoulders there, overturning it. Probably Simon's, I wish we had heart meters on these guys, but we will, see that Simon's heartbeat is probably just a little bit elevated right now. He needs to take a couple of deep breaths, but we should, I guess, listen from our sponsors as these players walk up to the green, take a little break.
And thank you to our sponsor, DGA. I can't wait to see what's coming next from them. It seems like a new basket, maybe?
Yeah, hashtag mock next is what I saw there. So we got all kinds of new things coming. And first round, I said, 2019, year of change. So we might see another new basket hitting the course before you know it.
Did you say year of chains or change?
Either
I guess it
one.
works either way.
Either way.
Here we go. It looks like Simon is the first one to go for this putt. I think he has a pretty clean look at it, but he is well outside the circle. Did not hit any chains. I don't think he hit any part of that basket. And on these elevated baskets, if you do miss like that, your disc is going to go at least 20 feet. He looks like he's 25 plus past on the other side. So it's going to be a very tricky comeback.
Yeah, this morning we saw Katrina Allen as well as Paige Pierce 3-putt on this elevated basket. That's a huge miss for Simon. We'll see if he can make his par putt. Sai is taking a run at him, hitting the tree just behind the basket and kicking him. That was a little bit of luck for Sai. Had he missed that tree, might not have a comeback putt at all. We'll see as our players are just trying to figure out who's out.
And this is such a short hole that these players need to be running for these putts. But again, on this elevated basket, these trees that are coming into play, we'll see here on Yale's putt, it makes it really difficult. And the putts aren't as wide open and clear cut as maybe you would think on a birdie hole.
If Yale here has any type of run at the basket, I would be blown away. It looks as if he's trying to make something work here. He just has to be careful of blowing it by too much if he does miss the basket.
Incredible putt. I would have loved to have seen behind where he was trying to shoot through from the knee up to an elevated basket. He is stoked about that. That is 5 for 5 for Yale.
Okay, Simon can breathe a somewhat sigh of relief there, getting it in for par. We were on bogey watch right there. But he's going to move past that. We're going to zoom just out here to see Eagle. Again, another opportunity. This would put Eagle within one stroke of the lead.
Keeping on pace right there. Gets another stroke on Simon. He's still just one back. Yale Store, he is just moving his way up that leaderboard. That was a drop-in par for Sias there. But let's go back to Yale's putt. That was incredible.
Yeah, it really was. We didn't mention too much because we had the players coming right in behind him, but absolutely incredible putt by Yale. As I said, he probably didn't have much at all. Snuck it just under those branches, right up over the rim. Yale is 5 for 5, and he did this yesterday. He was playing the best of all the players through about 8 holes. Let's see if Yale can continue that hot play and hot start. But I think the guys are clear on hole 6. Not too sure at this point, but we should take a look at that hole.
Let's take a look, Nate. Tell us about it.
I like that. Thanks, Val. Sorry, I took that one from you. 783 feet. Our first par 4. It is sort of a tight shot out off the tee. And as we get out into the fairway, the OB sort of lines the fairway on both sides, heading out to the basket. This basket is surrounded by out of bounds, all within the first circle, circle 1, and our guys are already on the tee. So nice to not have too much of a backup there.
Yep, let's keep it rolling. Yale Store is feeling it. Yale airs it out there. He's going to end up on the right side of the fairway, and as we move forward, we'll see it's a low ceiling for a second shot, but gets great distance on that drive.
Yeah, nervous clap from the crowd. I'm nervous too. I don't know if he's inbounds or out of bounds. Again, the players can take so many different lines off the tee. You can go all the way from the right of the fairway all the way to the left, as Simon's doing, or as Eagle's doing here. I don't know what it is about these two players, but Eagle just ripping that sidearm out right into the heart of the fairway.
The crowd was a little more confident that was a really great shot, so you can hear a little louder clap on that one. We have Sias Elmore, third on the tee, deciding between discs. He's feeling the pink one.
Yeah, we sort of lost that disc here. And the big story is Simon Lizotte, only 2 under through 5 holes. And it's not that he's just 2 under, it's that we've seen him hit early branches, early trees, doing things we would not expect from the leader of the Memorial Championship. Let's see how he now starts to fare on these longer holes. Is he going to just completely unleash on this 6th hole?
Ending up out of bounds on the left-hand side, going into the next fairway. Looking into Simon. Simon needs a snack. He needs a little fuel to energize him. That was his chance to unleash a little bit of that frustration that he felt. What has he got there?
Immediately going to the candy. Wow, the candy cam. He can't even get it open at all. Things are just not going very good for Simon Lizotte at the moment. He is hanging way back. The competitors have already started to walk up the fairway there, and we're back here. The candy cam.
You don't want to laugh at a guy that's struggling and then he can't get his candy open, but that was hard not to laugh at. Sorry, Simon. I'm sure he's laughing later about this.
Yeah, he'll be laughing later, but I mean, wow. Really, Simon Lizotte, again, I wish we had the heart meter on him. His blood pressure is rising. I know this feeling.
And you're struggling. And like I said, like the train's coming off the tracks, and how do you get back in line and keep it going? I mean, he hasn't lost the lead yet, but he is had a lot of errors and unforced errors, and we just need him to get back on track, and hopefully that little candy break gets him fueled up so he can get back on track.
We have our picture-in-picture here of the top 10 leaderboard, just seeing that Scotty Withers is still 6 for 6. Philo Brathwaite is now 7 for 7. You know, if Simon, if you're listening to us right now, you just need to forget about what's happened. Don't go for that big play. Stick with your game plan. Keep it in bounds. You're going to get some birdies. So, you know, he really just needs to take a big
We're telepathically saying
breath here and just calm down. Sai's getting caught up on this right side.
Looks like he had some branches in his run up there. Gets himself back to the middle of the fairway. But that is a tricky shot from that right-hand side. I'm glad he was able to find a way out.
Yeah, I think that's going to help his scramble rate, as that will be considered a missed fairway. Again, another unforced error from our lead card.
Oh, I'm so surprised that, I knew Simon would be going for the huge shot. I was really excited to see how far he can make it up the fairway. Hopefully he got some distance on that before it hyzered out and went out of bounds. But next up, it looks like Yale Store, also on the right-hand side of the fairway. And as you can see, he's got a tunnel shot, low ceiling through the trees. And there is a flagged OB line all along that right side. So he's got to be aware of that. Hit the line he wants, and that disc should just work and hyzer back into the middle of the fairway.
Yeah, as you just look just to the left of Yale, you can see those flags. He's going to use that as a line to throw straight down. One thing that's tricky about this flagged area is that the right side of the flags is like thicker green grass and it doesn't skip the same way, but we have a beautiful line there. We're going to see 6 for 6. Nice job, Yale. No problem whatsoever.
Big old smile. Thanks the crowd, but he completely pured that. That was an incredible shot. He's done all the hard work on this hole. He's looking at a drop-in birdie. We're scanning through the group right now, but I see Eagle McMahon is lining up his second shot from the middle of the fairway.
Yeah, and Eagle, if we're looking into small circles here, Eagle would have liked to have been just a little bit more to the left, giving himself a better angle for this hyzer. I can't see exactly. He's just going to go for the spike. So what he's trying to do, his hands are on his hips, hitting the pine tree that guards this 6th hole. So he's going to have a birdie look. But yeah, he's wondering if he should have thrown the sidearm or the backhand. We'll see how he fares on this one.
We're going to head up the fairway just a little bit farther. Trying to find Simon here. There he is.
Yeah, and there he is. And there is a sizable crowd here that our cameramen are trying to just make their way through. And always, these players love playing in front of people. It's really why they do it.
The group comes over, helps Simon find where his lie is going to be, where he last crossed the OB line.
You know, just from my perspective right now, Simon still has an opportunity to par this hole. The one thing he wants to avoid is throwing out of bounds on this shot, which is a possibility as it does get tight. He's immediately not happy with it. Can't tell exactly. Yeah, we can now see he is inbounds, but outside of circle one. You can see there's the OB line on the right. So he is inbounds, but a long putt for par.
It's a long putt, but maybe this will get him back on track. It's you know the pressure's on. He's realizing now with a few errors under his belt that it is not going to be smooth sailing today. He's going to have to fight for every stroke he gets. And hopefully he dials it in as we continue to play. And we're only 5 holes in. We're on the 6th hole right now, so it's still really early. And so hopefully Simon can shake it all off.
Yeah, he really needs to shake it off. He really needs to just forget about it. He's still the leader of the tournament at this point. With 3 pars in a row, we hold Simon to a very high standard as he's shown that he can birdie almost every hole, but he has half as many pars as he did through the first 36 holes already. He has 3, and he only had 6 at this point.
Looked like Sias was trying to take the outside route around that pine tree, but gets hung up there. Again, that pine tree is the last thing that you have to pass before getting to the basket, and it is holding true as the guardian tree. I believe it's about 25 feet from the basket. And again, another elevated basket here on the course. So keeping those putts tricky, but maybe these players are getting comfortable putting on these elevated baskets with so many so early in the round.
Yeah, and I'm loving these shots from our cameramen of just seeing the crowd and seeing the way the players move up the fairway. Don't have much to say. Simon needs to make this. And actually, you could hear somebody's phone there just dinging, and I think that's what distracted Simon.
It did distract him. It did throw him off pace, and that is not what he needed. Again, we've all been in this situation. He's got to dig deep, get over that. He's going to have a nice walk to think about this and get back into the game plan.
This putt right here is for Eagle McMahon to take the lead in this tournament. Ooh, and just a nervous look from Eagle. We can't tell if his disc stayed in bounds. I'm sure that it did. It didn't look like he was zooming too far past there, but boy, we're still going to see Eagle McMahon tied for the lead after this hole, assuming these guys get these next shots in. But here we are, Sias Elmore for par.
Outside the circle. Runs at the putt, hits off the rim.
Yeah, lots of words we've been using here, but oh my God, Yale Store, he's just been walking up this fairway as his disc was parked. He's going to be 6 for 6. And our other players just fumbling along on this hole. It was a very nervous hole by Sias Elmore.
You see Eagle McMahon is inbounds. Good comeback putt for him right there.
Eagle should have a pep in his step right now. He's now tied for the lead when it didn't look like that early on. So Simon Lizotte tapping in for bogey. There is a long walk, as you mentioned, Val, and I'm sure we'll see a couple commercials in there. It's going to let us think just a little bit about what we've seen through these 6 holes. I know I need a second just to think about it and process it, as I'm sure that our players do as well.
Exactly. Let's take a little look at the leaderboard. Wow, we just saw some instant movement right there. Philo Brathwaite making his way up into 4th place right now. Bumped Sias down after a little struggling in the beginning half of this round. But as you said, it's a long walk. So let's take a few commercials right now, and then we'll come back and we'll recap of what we just saw the last few holes.
I can throw this disc around the world in one shot.
Never play disc golf too far into the jungle. There may be cheetahs.
Someone on your card can't recall if they threw a 6 or a 7. It was probably an 8.
See? Stay getting birdies, my friends.
And we're going to come back live with chase card actions on holes 2 through 6. That's Scotty Withers. We already know that he's birdied all of these holes, giving it a run on hole 2, going just a little bit outside of the super comfortable zone, but making that putt, as we do know the scores already. Paul McBeth throwing sidearm on hole 2. Ricky Wysocki. Yeah, what a great chase card, really. We have, multiple world championships in this group, as well as Scotty Withers, and Scotty's playing great, better than both those two guys as they go through these holes.
Yeah, and his name's really familiar to us. He is an Oregon player, so he stays around and plays a lot of tournaments in the Northwest. So we're really familiar with Scotty Withers. And if any of you guys have heard about Whistler's Bend, that is Scotty's home course, one of the most beautiful courses in the country. So he runs tournaments out there. And yeah, you guys want to come play some beautiful disc golf, come join us in Oregon. You got to compete against Scotty Withers. And as you can see, he is deadly on the course.
Yeah, he definitely is. And I know all these Oregonians are going, I don't think it's his home course. I think Scotty's originally from the coast. One thing, though, that you just pointed out is that Scotty runs a lot of tournaments here in Oregon. So not only is he a great player, but he takes time to run tournaments as well. And so we're just seeing some of the chase card action here of our players. Here's Jeremy Colling. Yeah, he was OB off the tee there. That's a huge unforced error for Jeremy. Jeremy's name has dropped all the way off of our top 10 leaderboard. He's only 1 under through 7 holes. Paul McBeth missing another putt. The statistics are just continuing to rack up for Paul. Scotty making his birdie.
Yeah, making it look easy. He just going to work, just making putts. There we go. Ricky Wysocki scooting it up there near the basket. I see a green disc already there. I'm sure that's Scotty Withers. It looks pretty close, but Paul McBeth.
Yeah, Paul McBeth sort of, right in the middle of the field there. He's 4 under through 7 holes as we see these guys play these holes. Jeremy Colling deciding to throw a thumber on the 5th hole. Working out, actually going long. We'll see if he can make that putt. Here's Ricky first. Bang, Ricky Wysocki proving why he had back-to-back world championships. It's because of that putt. Paul McBeth doing the same.
Man, those are such fun putts to watch.
Yeah, they really are. That's a star frame for that chase card on that hole. And here we are on hole 6. Jeremy going with the roller, as we saw. And I don't know what that was. Oh, it was OB for Jeremy Colin. Yeah, the roller's a tricky shot on hole 6.
New player for Team Discraft. Paul Macbeth is throwing brand new discs for this tournament. He just played the Las Vegas Challenge, so that was his second or third tournament of the year. Scotty Withers. Striking a pose. Now we see how his disc finishes out, but looks outside of the circle.
And Ricky was caught up just on the right side there as he just played his shot just low there, keeping a good eye on it, bringing it inside the circle. Jeremy skipping his disc up just to outside the circle. And we do know that our players are now on the tee over at hole 7. Again, wow, incredible that we have so much clear golf for these players to start off.
Here we go. Back with Yale Store. We're now on hole 7. This is such a fun hole. Yale throws it nice and wide, getting great distance on this shot. It is a par 4, 645 feet. This is the Savage hole, so we're going to see in a second. Savage Ultimate has sponsored this hole, and Savage is when you have 7 players on an ultimate team with no alternates. You got no backups, so you're all in. And I know Eagle McMahon is all in. He's second on the card to tee off here. Gonna keep stringing those birdies together. Big wide shot that comes in. He's going to be hung up in those trees and on that side hill there. He should have an open shot if he was able to skip a little bit up that side hill.
Yeah, we heard a few claps from our crowd there, and he got it so far up that he should have a pretty open look. There'll be one big tree in his way that he has to avoid. Sias Elmore here on the tee. Sias playing this one beautifully as well, landing right in the middle. He should have a decent look for his upshot into the green. But the big story right now is we've seen the first bogey from Simon Lizotte. He is just going to try to rip this one again. He needs to avoid any type of disaster.
You're seeing that Simon landed over onto the left-hand side there.
Yeah, it was hard for me to see exactly where his disc landed. It looked like he got it just a little bit up. But, yeah, we have now Philo Brathwaite here all the way up on hole 9. This is his drive now throwing into the green. And wow, we are just zooming right along. I can't believe how far ahead the players are of our lead card. And that must just be that they had that enough of a gap, really. I mean, this is a dream. I mean, it's like these players are out there on their own.
Right. And Philo is a couple holes ahead of these players. He's already moved up 5 places. He's tied for 3rd right now. He is 8 for 8. It was a really impressive upshot he just did. So glad we got to see that. But, yeah, we're seeing our players mingling around.
Yeah, right here, right now, on the live coverage, we're here in the booth. We're not used to having this much quick play. We're used to having a little bit more backups. We saw a few backups with our lead women player this morning. But, these guys are on hole 7 right now. And hole 7 is really an easy birdie hole for these players. It is 645 feet, but they really need to birdie this hole and then go over to hole 8, which is a water hole for them. But the weather conditions are so calm and so pristine that we really haven't seen really anything that would be considered hard for them.
No, it is perfect conditions. Utah's Live's telling me it's 71 degrees Fahrenheit with 3 miles per hour wind. So not even barely a breath out there. And we see Sias Elmore throwing his second shot. Beautiful placement right there. He's looking good for a birdie run.
Yeah, of our 4 players here, Sias played it perfectly with his disc right in the middle of the fairway. And when you are in the middle of this fairway, you have a nice just hyzer line to it. Yale has done the same thing, and we're going to be coming up right behind Yale here. He has a wide open look at the basket, just a nice little hyzer. It's going to be a mid-range disc for Yale.
Wow, he takes a big hyzer route there, skips it up, nearly hits the pedestal that this another elevated basket is sitting on. And I mentioned it earlier, but this is my favorite hole of the course. It's such a fun hole to play. It's such a gettable birdie. It's a par 4, so a 3 on this is birdie. But such fun shots to throw, especially for a backhand right-handed player.
Yeah, and Simon Lizotte and Eagle McMahon have taken all the question out off the tee on this one, making it just wide open putter shots into this green, and Simon's done that. He'll get back on the birdie train, which he needs to do. But we have a tournament here now with 2 guys at the lead at 31 under par, and 4 players just 3 strokes behind at 28 under.
Eagle McMahon with a nice little upshot right there. He does hit the pole, gets a little bit of a roll, but it'll be an easy little putt for him.
Yeah, giving him just a little bit of breathing room on that elevated basket. It's always, as a player, it's frustrating to hit the basket and roll away. But
how would you mark that if you landed right underneath? It was like you're 1 foot underneath and then you got an overhead shot? I don't know.
I mean, his arms are so long, I don't think he would have too much of a problem with it. But we will see our players now moving up to the green. We have really, I think, 3 for sure birdies with Sias just lining up.
Sias Elmore gets his birdie on it. He's the farthest away from the basket, but everybody else is surrounding it. But Eagle McMahon is stepping up next. Easy breezy birdie for Eagle.
Yeah, it just happens there for these guys. And we're going to see a star frame here. Yale Store continuing to show that he is the best player on this card right now. 8 for 8. It is official, or 7 for 7. He's in the basket there. There's a little bit of a walk up to the 8th hole here. So I'm going to probably have a second just to look at the leaderboard here. You know, the one thing I can say is that we just look right at the top there. Simon and Eagle tied.
Yeah, this is great to see. This is what all the viewers out there want to see. You want to see that tight, competitive disc golf. You want to see the players out there having to think. You want to see other players like Yale Store putting that pressure on these veterans, on last year's champion and second place finisher. So it's really great to see. This is the competitive disc golf we've been waiting for, and it's moving day, and everybody is moving around.
Yeah, and everybody's happy that Simon has sort of taken somewhat of the pedal off of the metal. And, you know, one thing that I am just so happy to see is that Yale Store is taking advantage of that right now. He's put himself in a position to be a factor in this tournament if he can keep this hot play up. And we knew at the beginning this is what it was going to take.
Absolutely. And I was looking at some hot scores from last year. I saw Paul Macbeth had shot a 47. Eagle and Simon shot 49s. And with the perfect conditions we're talking about and players like Yale on a roll like this, we're going to see scores just like that. And maybe even close to course records. So
Yeah, and I mean, at this point, just 2 under through 7 holes for Simon Lizotte. A double-digit round is going to be difficult for him. Not out of the realm. They do have 10 holes left to play, but we still have some difficult holes. But the conditions are just so perfect. I really would expect to see Simon at least pick up 6 to 8 more birdies with these in these last 10 holes.
yep, if he can get his game back on track, little rocky start, but he's a veteran. He can get it back in line. And we're headed over to hole 8, which is a funny little hole. I think we have some footage from the chase card playing in a little bit, but let's check out a whole preview because this is a really interesting hole.
Yeah, I mean, this morning we saw all kinds of crazy stuff from the ladies, but 360 feet downhill over the water the entire way. And boy, I would really talk a lot more about all these different things, but really there's no wind to speak of. There's an OB on the right there. There's OB on the left, but these players are just focused in on this basket. This is no more than a mid-range if they decide to take the straight route. But with these guys having such big arms, we might see that spike hyzer as well. 3 years ago, I believe it was, there was a big guardian tree on the right that did fall or was cut down. Not sure how that all went down, but it opened up the sky hyzer for our big arm players. And the nice thing about the sky hyzer, Val, is once you hit that line, the disc has so much angle, it just comes in and spikes in.
Yeah, you hope so, because this grass is playing really fast, really skippy, and that water is so close surrounding the basket, all on that left side. Let's do a listen in. I know the players are really tight on this tee pad, and there could be some fun action that happens. Yale Store leads us off.
Loving the live listen. I think we're going to try to do that 3 or 4 times throughout the round. I just like to hear what the players are saying to each other. And in this case, in this group, not much, really, and not much to speak of. We'll take a little break as the guys walk down to the green.
Thank you to Next Generation Disc Golf for supporting the Disc Golf Pro Tour. And as we see, our players are now walking down onto the green. Everyone is safe, and so it's just a matter of putting. We see Yale Store went a little long on this. We've got a couple of park jobs, 3 park jobs, I believe. But Yale Store is the first one out.
And as much as I don't want to put the pressure on any of the players, Yale needs to make this putt. Just keep that momentum going. I already know he wants to make it. It's wide open. We have a beautiful view here from behind the basket.
Yes! Yale Store continues that streak, 8 for 8 with that huge birdie.
Yale calling out me by making that great putt there by Yale Store, continuing that 8 for 8 streak. I think other than that, we're going to go ahead and see a star frame on this 8th hole. Again, with the conditions the way they are, just so easy. 3 miles an hour wind, we're getting a call out. That's basically nothing. Sometimes it can be difficult to play with really low winds, but not for these guys today. And, you know, we just got in our ear, we have almost 5,000 people watching live and what looks like maybe about 100, 150 people watching in person. So a lot of great action going on here in this first Disc Golf Pro Tour.
Yeah, this is so fun. I feel like I'm a spectator in the crowd. I love seeing that view from the tee pad as we just did. And yeah, if we see people start gathering up, jumping on their bikes, riding down to the end of the course here as we wrap up, and they want to see this action live like you guys are watching it from your living room. So we're excited to coverage to you. And Eagle McMahon, Simon Lizotte, Yale Store, they're still killing it. We see Philo Brathwaite and Scotty Withers tied for 4th place, not too far behind, but keeping those birdies alive. And that was great to see all birdies on for everyone on hole 8. Heading over to hole 9, let's keep it going.
Yeah, hole 9, 482 feet over the corner of the water. We'll see a multitude of shots from these players. Really, Simon and Eagle have opportunities to get to this green. At 482 feet, a par 3, one of those kind of funny par 3, par 4 type holes for some of our players, but interested to see how our players attack. There obviously is water all to the left, but really what comes and sneaks in for our players is that cart path or walking path just on the right of the green. So we can see everybody just hanging around here at the tee. You know, one thing that I really loved at this course is these players now play hole 9, they play hole 10, they play hole 11, and 12 comes back up. So a lot of people hang right here between 8 and 12, getting to watch a lot of those players come through. Really a cool spot on the course to hang out.
Yes, it is. And you can see there's even more cameras following these groups. Let's see, listen in, see if Simon gives us a little tip on what he's going to do on this.
Just water over me. Is that official? Be on the right there. Yeah. That's official? Yeah.
Yeah, and great listen in there. Thanks for bumping that audio, Johnny B. What they're asking about is the water's just a little bit low, and I would probably be asking the same question. Is it the water or is it the grass? And they have verified that it is the water, so no matter if the water's low or not, they have to be in water to be OB there.
And you do not want to be in that mucky mud down there. I know it's probably not solid. You're not going to get great footing down there. Aim for the grass, Simon. That's my tip for you. And here we've got Yale Store leading us off, looking for another birdie here. Looks like Yale's playing a nice placement shot, taking the big hyzer here. It's up nice and safe, middle of the fairway.
And this is why I call this sort of a par 3-ish, and it's almost a par 4-ish as well, because some of the players don't have enough of an arm to get all the way to the basket, but some of them do. And they've moved this pin back just about 50 feet from where it was for years and years and years. It's been in this position for maybe 5 or so. Let's see how Eagle does. He's lining up the giant spike.
Little skip, center of the fairway, nice and safe. He'll have a long run at a birdie right there. He was able to get enough distance down the fairway there. Sias Elmore, third on the tee box.
And interestingly enough, and maybe Sias will trick us here, but it looks like Sias is playing to the left. I question this play. No need for him to really bring that water into play. Let's see what he's got for us.
It can hang on, keep that Anheuser line, and it does not look like it's going to. See it snag the tree, land him safely inbounds. Like you said, risky play to play over the water like that. Let's see what tricks Simon's got up his sleeve. Looking right down the fairway. He's looking to get distance off this.
Yeah, we saw this from last year from Simon Lizotte, taking the more aggressive route, trying to hyzer this in at the end. This brings in, we have our spotter running. It's skipping on there and comes back inbound. Simon Lizotte taking advantage of that aggressive play.
Whoa, it looked like he released that a little more on an Anheuser line than he intended. Made that spotter run, made that spotter work for it, and land safely in bounds. We've got some action shots from the chase card here. We've got Ricky Wasaki. And we're going to, I think, see a little clips of 7, 8, and 9. Park job from the middle of the fairway for Ricky. And here's Paul Macbeth on his upshot.
Yeah, and currently Ricky Wysocki, and this group actually has played 9 holes, both Ricky and Paul, 5 under for their round, 27 and 25 under respectively for the tournament. And Jeremy Colling not having such a good round. He's only 1 under par through 9 holes. So Jeremy's not going to be happy with that whatsoever. But Paul and Ricky just 5 under through 9. Not horrible, not great. But yeah. And see what they've done so far on these holes.
Ricky took the wide Skyheiser route. Let's see what Paul takes on here. Straight at it. Probably a buzz. I'd assume it was a buzz.
Yeah, it was a mid-range of some sort, and he slid it in there for what will be a birdie for him on that hole. Scotty Withers throwing the sidearm.
Looks like we're back with our leader card as we see Yale Store lining up the shot here.
And this is the exact reason I call this a par 3-ish. I mean, Yale still has well over 100 feet into that green, putting it just back right. And this is going to end his streak of birdies, but one of those things, he played for this area.
Yes, he did. It was a placement shot. It was very intentional. But yeah, it's a par 3. It's tough to get for these guys. It's tough to park it. So, yeah, it's a tough one to call a par 3. But
and in the same breath, we could say it's tough to call it a par 4. It's one of those tweener holes, and one that the tournament directors have not really had an answer for, except just to leave it the way it is, and that's okay. Sias again getting lucky, sticking in this pine tree, playing the hyzer. A little bit long. That was a nervous shot by him. There's no way he should be that far away from the basket from that distance away. We're going to see Eagle McMahon with a long birdie opportunity. But with Simon Lizotte up there for birdie, we could see a little shift at the top.
taking a knee, giving him a better advantage underneath that branch.
When nothing Eagle could really do. He just had to just snap it with his wrist there. He's not all that happy with it. But, again, one of those holes you just want to kind of get through and move on.
Look at that crowd. It is building and building. This is amazing to see. I mean, it makes such fun spectating out there. Beautiful weather. Grab a nice frosty beverage and follow and watch some of the best players in the world attack this course. Simon Lizotte lining up his birdie putt here. Holy cow. There we go, Simon. That's going to spark some energy behind Simon's game here. That is exactly what he needed. Getting a stroke on his card there.
I am fist pumping here in the studio for Simon Lizotte. That's exactly what we wanted to see from him. Taking advantage of that sort of skip back in bounds on that aggressive tee shot.
This is a big putt for Sias to save par.
You know, Val, I have to mention this, and this is our job, but we've seen a couple of nervous upshots from Sias Elmore all the way back on hole 6 and now on hole 9. So, you know, we're not going to judge him too hard. This is a great opportunity for him to play in this position, and sort of you need to be in this position to learn how to move forward from it.
Yep. He's seeing the spectator crowd grow out there, and it's fun to play in front of these crowds, but it definitely makes you nervous, puts the pressure on. Yale Store for par.
And just hanging in on the right side there. Nervous putt for Yale Store, getting his par on hole 9, 8 under through 9 holes. A lot of blue on that scorecard. And with so much things we've seen, Yale just solid as a rock. A finish rock.
Isn't that a song? Solid as a rock. Yes, it is in my book. Eagle McMahon throws in his birdie. Sias takes a bogey on that. And like we said, Simon Lizotte, the only birdie on that hole, gives him a stroke over Eagle for the solid first place. Again, lots of movement happening. Everybody is still in a tight race here. We're headed over to hole
10. Yeah, and here we are. Here we are on hole 10, 651 feet. Really, we start to hit some of these par 4s now. Pine trees all along the right side as there's a little bit of a side hill there. Trees all over this fairway. The players are going to be doing probably a bunch of different things. Years ago, I saw Garrett Gurthey roll it in the road beyond this pin. Last year, we were seeing all kinds of crazy rollers, birdie or eagle opportunities by both Simon and Eagle. So exciting to see what these players have for us on hole 10 as we've now made, well, what is typically called the turn, but we have one more hole before they turn and head all the way back to where they started.
Yep. I'm excited to see this. Are these guys lining up some big shots? Is there an opportunity that distance could play to the advantage of these players?
Oh, absolutely. And, you know, we'll see again. I think they're going to be trying to line up the roller. The roller is really the way to get way down there. Otherwise, they would just play right up the middle.
Right. And we'll see if we can kind of see that side hill in our camera angle here, but it's a low shot. They got to do a laser shot to get underneath that low ceiling. And there's a side hill. So if you're going to go up the tunnel shot, and we see Simon is not lining that up.
No, he's not. He has 2 discs in his hand, so I'm sure we've seen this aggressive play from Simon ever since he made those early mistakes. Great look from the catch cam. Simon that needs to just sit down, and he is going to have a long look for Eagle, just as we talked about.
Oh my, that disc is so far down the fairway. Simon could not even see it finish, but you can hear by the applause. Beautiful shot. He is almost basket height.
Yeah, he's really pretty much even with the basket, and unfortunately there is a pine tree there that'll affect him having a completely clear look. But at 651 feet, just incredible shot. Yale going with a little bit more of a traditional look here, throwing just a soft baby turnover with a nice flex out at the end. He will have a perfect look up to the green for a birdie opportunity. And let's see what Eagle McMahon has for us. And one thing for our fans to recognize at home is that they're actually landing this disc like 400 feet off of the tee. So they have such a big arm. Their disc is not even starting to roll until 350, 400.
And some of us, that's a full flex drive.
The crowd, we can hear them just moaning and groaning just a little bit. And Eagle's disc just having a little bit too much angle, not getting that flip out, but landing perfectly in bounds. And Eagle should have a nice look for birdie on this hole. Our leader, Simon Lizotte, is all the way pin high. Let's see what Sias decides on this 10th hole.
Sticking with his very own game plan, up the gut. Very nice throw, but as you can see, it hyzers out, does a little skip, so he's going to have to contend with those trees on his upshot. But I'm glad he stuck to his game plan after watching some of those huge drives. So while this huge crowd heads up the fairway, we're going to take a quick commercial break and check out a little word from our sponsors.
And we're back here in the studio. Thank you to all of those sponsors and really all the sponsors of the Disc Golf Pro Tour, helping our players, play in these big events with good sized purses and making it their job. Will come back to the live action. I just saw you looking up something over here on your computer. What was that?
I was looking up to see what the world record distance was, and it is held by David Wiggins Jr. He threw
1,108 feet.
Isn't that nuts? I was thinking Simon was still holding the world record, but his world record, when he broke it, Simon threw 863 feet. So now when you think about it, throwing 400 feet to start his roller, it doesn't really seem that surprising, but an incredible shot by Simon. I wanted to check some stats there, and he's a distance thrower. It's so impressive to see.
Yeah, we can see now behind Sias. This was the one thing when you go up the gut, you really have to decide if what disc you're going to use and have that right hand finish. He's finished left here. This is a very tricky shot with the pine trees on the right, the two trees in front of him. We saw Paige Pierce try to execute this shot earlier in the day, and Sias executes it perfectly.
He's got to be stoked about that shot. It is very technical. You have to maneuver around those trees, ride just over that side hill, and he did that perfectly, skipping right up next to the basket. Yale Store, we see him on the side hill here, just at the bottom of it.
Yeah, if it were me, I'd probably just flick a little sidearm on this. I think that Anheuser can be tough to judge the distance, but Yale might almost throw it into the basket. Wow.
Yale knows what to do. He's feeling it out there. Beautiful Anheuser. That hit the basket.
Yes,
that was insane. This is so much fun to watch. These guys are not letting up. They're hitting their shots. And as we step up, we see Eagle's roller finished right, giving him a nice wide open upshot here.
Playing that upshot perfectly, and that was one of those upshots that we would expect a player like Eagle McMahon to get 10 for 10 times, especially in these conditions. We're going to go ahead with a Zuka replay of Yale Store's.
Psych. Maybe we'll get another replay in a few minutes here. But we see Simon lining up here. The basket is just out of view from this camera angle. Even with the basket, outside circle 2.
Oh, and Simon thought it was in. I did too, actually, about 3/4 of the way. I thought that was in. Beautiful job by Simon. But really, all that said, we're going to just end up with what looks like 4 birdies on this hole, on the 10th hole. That's actually really good. This hole is more difficult than these players just made it look. So
yeah, it is incredible to be even with the basket, 650 feet putting for 2. I mean, they made it look so easy, but it is so incredibly impressive. There's Simon tapping in his 3 right there. Still gets a birdie, even though he had that incredible eagle run. And that is going to be birdies for the entire card.
yeah, star frame, as I said. And boy, how awesome is that to see a star frame on a difficult hole like that. And look at that leaderboard. Everybody has played through 10 holes at the very minimum. We see Calvin Heinberg, our champion from last weekend in Las Vegas, up there and tied for 8th with Paul Macbeth. But really the story is that Simon Lizotte has turned it around and now birdied how many holes in a row there? He's got
That's 4.
4 in a row for Simon. See if he can keep that up. I think it was just a couple holes ago I called him out, expecting him to get at least 8 more birdies as he finishes this round.
Exactly. Simon got a bogey on hole 6, but then went birdie, 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 birdie. So now we're heading over to hole 11. Let's do a hole preview. Tell us about it, Nate.
Yeah, here we are on hole 11. We now have made the official turn heading back the opposite direction that the players have been playing. 759 feet. You can see there's a little hill on the right. If you go right of that, you're OB. You see that pine tree on the left. Just left of that is a walking path that runs the entire left side. The tree that's coming into view on the left side now is the goal for these players with the longer arm. The shorter arm players are going to be just short of that, but they will be looking to put themselves on the right side of the fairway for an open backhand shot, or maybe down to the left side for a sidearm shot. Either way, hole 11 is a tough birdie with a side hill green there, and we're back here in the booth. Oh, man.
I want to take a minute here. Today, it is moving day, leading us into that final round, and there's a cut that happens after today's round. And if you guys head over to udisclive.com, scroll down quite a bit. The top 73 players will make the cut. Ties advance to the final round, it says right there, but we've got some players that are competing so that they can play on Sunday. So there's a few players down at the bottom here that we're checking out, a few familiar names, but everybody's battling. You want to play a full weekend of golf, so we've got a cut today, and so these players, this could be their final round, but for these players that we're watching today, there is no chance they're not going to make the cut.
Yeah.
But wanted to mention that.
Yeah, not a lot of our players are used to having to play with a cut. It doesn't happen in your local events typically, but in these bigger events, we do have a cut. And, names right around that cut line. Dustin Keegan just on the bottom side of the cut at this point. That would be something that we wouldn't expect. He was in the lead card and had the lead in Las Vegas just 1 week ago. So hopefully Dustin's okay. We have Drew Gibson, who looks like he will definitely miss the cut at 11 under. But yeah, great point with bringing in the cut. That just gives us something else to talk about.
Yeah, might as well have something else to talk about. We've got a lot of hours to fill watching live disc golf commentary. I think we had a little backup here. So we're waiting for the chase card to clear.
Yeah, and I'd like to just say Eric Oakley moving up 28 strokes today. When we came on the air, he was right near the cut line, shooting a 6 under par. he is now well inside the cut. So, players that are on tour making the cut is so key. We have some players that are just here vacationing or just playing, a tournament vacation kind of thing. But these touring players need to make these cuts so that they can get paid.
Absolutely. Is it like Maple Hill Open?
Absolutely.
Make the cut, get paid?
It's got to be.
And speaking of Maple Hill, that is where Simon has been calling his home course. He spent his off season in Massachusetts. So he had a cold off season. He's from Germany, so I guess he's used to that. But yeah, Maple Hill.
Yeah, one of the cool things to come out of this offseason was the video that Simon Lizotte made of him ice skating actually on the lake at Maple Hill, making some putts off of the ice skates.
Right, because you could see every basket from the lake there, so he's putting as he's ice skating along. That was pretty funny.
It was not only funny, it was pure. The word is just awesome. I watched it like a dozen times, and we just see our chase card here on the fairway of hole 11. But Simon Lizotte is surprisingly just one of those, not surprisingly, I shouldn't use that word at all. He's just a pure athlete, so fun to watch, and do so many different things.
Yeah, and so to see him so casually on ice skates practicing, I mean, I don't think I'd call that practicing, but when they asked what Simon was doing in the off season, he didn't say that he was practicing. He was just having fun doing videos like that, and that keeps the game fresh. I mean, he's playing in these competitive rounds all season long. You need to take a little bit of a break from disc golf and have a little fun, and Simon definitely does that.
Yeah, and if we get a cold snap here at Vista del Camino, we could get the ice skates out for Simon Lizotte. But right now, weather is perfect, 71 degrees, no wind whatsoever. Ricky Wysocki taking that sidearm route on this 11th hole, and that's why doing the whole preview is so difficult, because you just don't know how each one of these players is going to play the hole.
Especially when you have a sidearm or a backhand that you can pull out of the bag. There's so many options that will come from the players.
You see Paul McBeth here. Paul is in the middle of the fairway, and he looked like he was maybe thinking about a sidearm, but he's going to go with a backhand. This shot for him is really like a twisting mid-range, trying just not to turn it up over too much. Let's see how he does. Getting it a little bit high, heading towards the OB, staying inbounds. It'll be a circle's edge putt for Paul McBeth on hole 11.
What a nice view. Look how calm that lake is. It's fun to see all the spectators gathering around, spectating for both the chase card and the leader card. There's big names on both cards, so bouncing back and forth and seeing the action right there on the course. I know how fun it is. I've been there. I love being there. And that guy right there on the bike, that is the way to do it. I mean, it's a big course, so having some nice transportation, it's really easy to watch this golf on every one of these holes.
Yeah, and while I would say that it really is such a nice day to be out there in person, I have to say the cameramen and everybody a part of this live broadcast giving us the opportunity to watch it from so far away, and you might be around the world right now watching. Just awesome stuff.
And it really is impressive. I mean, it seems so easy how we're bringing this live coverage to you guys. Nate and I are here in Bend, Oregon. Johnny V is over in Wisconsin, mixing this up, producing the shot. Simon Lizotte is in Arizona, lining up his shot. So we have so many people across the country coming together and bringing this live coverage for you. So I'm so happy you guys are enjoying it. I'm glad you're tuning in. After that little eagle run, Simon is so ready. I mean, it doesn't seem like the spotters are ready just yet, but here we go. Simon's ready to tee off right here on hole 11.
No worries there for Simon Lizotte on hole 11. Just thanking the crowd for their cheers. He played that back just a little bit. I think he threw quite an overstable driver, just trying to spike it in, putting himself in position. Again, hole 11 is a par 4, 759 feet, and it is a difficult birdie for our players. Nothing has seemed difficult for Yale Store today. Just one par out there, 9 under through 10 holes, putting himself in nice position. And just the whip of Eagle McMahon with a nice spike on it. And one thing that these players can do is they can throw it so far that they can use really overstable drivers so that they can come into those fairways with nice amount of angle, just allowing the disc to stick and not skip. And with Sias, we can't quite see, but it did skip back in bounds for him way more to the right than he would have wanted for sure on that shot.
We're going to take a look at the chase card on hole 10. Scotty Withers lining up his shot. That looks like to be his shot from his drive, giving him a good look there. A pretty routine sidearm for Jeremy Coling, and he seems to fluff it. What a cool silhouette shot here of Paul McBeth up on the rocks, right-hand side. I'm wondering if he's playing that right-hand side to skip right in.
He may have tried to go for the roller shot, maybe just overturning it. Jeremy Coling making that putt after that fluff call from Valerie here, and we have Paul McBeth with a birdie putt. Cashing it, no problem at all. And Scotty Withers has cooled off just a little bit as we've hit our turn area here. And just looking down at the scorecards, so much blue. And when you see a brown color pop up, you know it's a bogey. And it really just, is so surprising with the way that our players have been playing.
That's right. And Paul McBeth, he's in 8th place, but he's shooting a 7 down. So it's right up there with one of the hot scores of the day. Looks like Yale Store is still leading us with 9 under.
Yeah, Yale Store definitely with the lowest score on the course right now. The closest person to him through much more holes is Johnny McRae at 9 under through 13. So Yale, if he can continue this, we could be seeing something really special from this player all the way from Finland.
We're seeing that scorecard pop up as Yale throws a nice shot. Doesn't get him as close as he would want to the basket there. And I have another up shot. It's a par 4, so he'll be looking at par on this one if I can count his shots before they happen.
I mean, that's our job to sort of know what's going on before it even happens, trying to predict those types of things. Yale just didn't have a very big drive, leaving himself on the left side of the fairway. Had he had maybe a bigger sidearm, we could have seen him take that line. Sias up here on the right side, having no trees in his way. Beautiful look from behind, but with that skip staying just inbound, so he will have a birdie look on the 11th hole.
Having that angle that he did, he had to ride that side hill all along the way, and he executed that shot very nicely. Didn't get much of a skip off of that very dry grass that we've got out here at Vista. Speaking of sidearm shots or backhand shots, Simon has them all. He's lining up them both. You can see there's a couple trees in the way of him and the basket. Looks like he's going to go with some kind of shot.
Yeah,
maybe another disc here.
Eventually he will have to throw some kind of shot. Looks like he is going to go with the turnover, and this hole has really just gotten so much more difficult as these trees grow up. And really this is something that we've seen from the players just choosing which way they want to go.
Looks like it's the sidearm here. Looks like he committed to that one. He's lying right there on the flat part of that green, looking right at the basket. Good choice, Simon.
Yeah, and what happens with the sidearm is you bring in the power, or you bring in the light poles from this walking path. Again, these players are playing at Vista del Camino Park, a meandering park that follows the water along with the walking paths and the bikers. And so the only thing these guys have to worry about is missing those light poles.
It helps when you can just throw right over them. Eagle takes the high route, spikes it in. That's a great shot right there. I mean, you do not want to hit those light poles. That is OB all the way. So going right over them, that makes it a little bit easier.
Yeah, Eagle just saying, oh, forget about those light poles. I'm going to go over them. And we were just talking about Yale's store trying to keep that momentum going. And unfortunately, his drive was just so short. Unless we see something really special, and we've seen something special already for him, we're going to see another par from Yale. But Yale's done a good job to stay within striking distance of our leaders. Simon Lizotte at 35 under par, Eagle McMahon at 34 under par. These guys leaving off, just coming right back from where they were just 1 year ago at these same courses.
Yep, absolutely. And I'm trying to figure out how much under par they were on these rounds last year, and it was 13 under par. 11 under par. It was Paul Macbeth who shot a 47, and that was 13 under par. Yale Store at 9 under. We're only through 10 holes. Here's the 11th hole. Looks like an easy layup. He wasn't going for that one. He's just going to get his drop in par here. No harm, no foul. Still plenty of birdies on that scorecard to pad it up a little bit.
Yeah, absolutely. And, I've played this tournament so many times, and we've seen players really take Vista del Camino by the horns, and we've seen 15 under par. I saw David Felberg shoot a 15 under par. I shot a 12 in that round, still losing 3 strokes. So the opportunities are out there, especially when the weather conditions are like this. Sias Elmore for birdie.
My band. I hate that sound.
My band. And here we have Simon Lizotte. This is to keep his 1-stroke lead as Eagle is already in close for birdie.
He just hit the connection point from the chains. Just a little high. Wasn't able to execute that one as much as he wanted that putt to go in.
When the water's up and your discs are down, you need a quick stick. Grabs it easily, pulls it in instantly. There's nothing faster or easier than an in-zone quick stick.
Thank you to InZone Quick Stick for sponsoring the Disc Golf Pro Tour. I bet a bunch of players wish they had that in their bag for this weekend. Get a few of those discs back that they lost at the fountain, or maybe out at Vista. There's tons of water out here too. Taking a look at our leaderboard here. Eagle McMahon, Simon Lizotte, tied up in the first position. Yale Store not too far behind there, but they're gaining that lead over them.
Yeah, we were just saying it, and we're going to have a little bit of a backup here, so we might see some chase card coverage. We might get to see some of the other throws from some of these other players, and we have a few cameras out there, so we might catch something here. And, anyways, just to continue to talk about what these two have done, really pushing themselves now 4 ahead of Yale. Last year, Eagle wanted this tournament so badly. He had won Vegas, which was his first national tour win, and he ended up winning quite a few events last year. And, Simon Lizotte just stayed those few strokes ahead of him we're seeing that battle again this year. These two guys just really on another level from all the players on the course.
Yeah, we are. And I have a little stat for you. Let me see if I can execute it correctly. Simon started playing the Memorial in 2014.
Okay.
That was his first Memorial. He took 7th place.
Okay.
He has then since played the Memorial every year after that and hasn't taken anything lower than 4th place. So Simon has finished top 10 in every one of his showings at the Memorial. He likes these courses, obviously. He plays extremely well at them. And so this is really impressive to see him coming back, trying to defend that win again. But Eagle McMahon right at his heels.
Yeah, and there's only one guy that has better stats than that. Those are impressive stats, but it's that guy right there that you just saw, Paul Macbeth. Since 2012, I believe, has won this tournament 5 times, taken 2nd place in all of the other times except for last year where he did finish in 5th place. But, you know, recently Simon Lizotte has showed a real domination at this course. Jeremy Colling on the whoa. Big Germ, we like to call him drama. He knows how to make the crowd get into it. We're not sure what stopped him there. This is the famous gunite hole, hole number 12. Parking that hole. Great shot by Jeremy Colling.
And we see Ricky also lining up the sidearm here. It's a great shot to avoid those trees that we can see on the right-hand side. He's got good distance on that. It's safe. He's just outside the circle there. The crowd likes it. Ricky wishes he was closer.
And here we have Scott Withers on the tee, and the tree that's just over his right shoulder is one of those ones that has made this hole so much more difficult over the last 5 years. Scotty handling it well, putting it inbounds, and it forces those players that don't have the big sidearm to throw that kind of touch turnover. But what we've seen in the past, and with the wind blowing around, you might get a wind shear here or wind shear there, kind of take you down. There's no wind at all. So even a mid-range off of this tee is a shot that can happen, which I think we just saw Scotty use right there.
Yeah, and each year we see these trees getting bigger and bigger, and it changes up these shots. And so it's interesting to see how players line up these shots each and every year because they are different. As the trees get bigger, changes the lines, and the water's still there. The water's always been there. I don't think it's going anywhere anytime soon. Oh, look at this. Look at this help.
Teamwork makes the dream work. And you can see Jeremy Colling, and that is his bag on that, so he might as well help out there. But, you know, I love those views of seeing the players walk up the fairways and just how many people are out here watching these players, the best players in the world at this sport, disc golf. Ricky Wysocki for birdie. This is Raptorville for Ricky. A little high and left, keeping it inbounds.
He's got such a nice loft on those putts. You know, he's kind of got that straddle putt, such a signature putt. And we know that he works on that. He is around that putting basket all day long. He might even put in some time after the rounds. But Ricky Wysocki learned how to play on my home course, Roscoe Ewing Park, Medina, Ohio. And I remember seeing him play when he was just starting out. One of those young players, you know, teenager kid, loving disc golf. And it's amazing to see where he has gone in his career so far. Such a great champion, world champion. It's fun to see him out here today playing so well.
Oh, and Paul giving a little baby fist pump, just sneaking it up over that rim. And we're going to see the zoom.
Such a great champion, world champion. It's fun to see him out here today playing so well.
A little baby fist pump.
Hashtag baby fist pumps.
Then we see Scotty Withers here just lining up for birdie as well. And I love hearing those stories about Ricky, and I remember giving Ricky the advice to turn pro along with the Jenkins family. I'll never forget, he came over to the house one time and we had a couple of baskets set up and he was just out there putting and we were all hanging around playing and we all went in the house, ate dinner, he was out there putting. We came out, we hung out, he was out there putting. It got dark, he was out there putting. So Ricky Wysocki, not a stranger of putting the work in. And that's the reason he was a back-to-back world champion.
And he is a gamer too. So he is so competitive in disc golf. He wants to make sure he's making every putt, clearly putting in the time. But we've seen him so competitive, again, out at Maple Hill, playing ping pong, super competitive. I know he plays pool, darts, any game you throw at this guy, he will probably take you down. So,
Oh yeah, he's a gamer for sure. And that's, a lot of times these people are very competitive in what they do. And, King Climo, a 12-time world champion, was incredibly competitive. Also, we've seen that up close. So the competitive aspect is what keeps these guys in the game. And it's why they're still out here no matter what's going on. They want to do better and better and better.
well, here we are back with the leader card. Eagle McMahon with the sidearm.
Yeah, and we can go ahead and consider watching the chase card as our hole overview. And you can see that this hole is over the water most of the way, 351 feet. Sidearm is a good play. We see Simon lining up the backhand. I love the view from the other direction, and there it is, just seeing that little flex back sliding just off the top of the concrete for a birdie opportunity for Simon Lizotte. I want Yale Store to come back here and pick up this birdie. Yeah, he is taking the bigger, higher flex, but doing it with really good ease there. He took a driver disc there, throwing it on a really steep turnover angle and utilizing that flex back.
Yes, he did. And it's interesting to see the way he approached that shot or approached his run up. Seeing Sias do just the same with the same Anheuser angle release point, turning it over, making that disc work. We see it hyzering back just inbounds. He's stoked about that, but I'm sure his heart was racing. From what the players can't see, they know that they have to get up on top of the hill, but from this viewpoint, you see the gunite levels off at the top. There's another 3 feet of cement that they have to clear, and I had to look it up. Wikipedia, what the heck is gunite? You don't hear us say that too often. It's sprayed concrete that is conveyed through a hose. It makes up most artificial pools, artificial ponds like we're seeing out here, artificial canals, gunite. Add it to your daily vocabulary.
Yeah, and I guess it's a better word than sprayed concrete. So thank you for looking that up. Wikipedia doing us just what we needed it to do, give us the definition of things that we don't know. And our players are here on the 12th hole, making their way back towards the clubhouse at this point, turned completely around. And we had 4 inbound shots. We're going to have really putts from each one of our players here, and Sias Elmore got just a little bit lucky sticking inbounds there, but yes, we do have everybody inbounds.
He looks very ready on this. Stepping up to his lie here. First one to run at a birdie on yet another elevated basket. I've lost track. There's so many out here on this course. Incredible putt. Way to start it out. Way to put the pressure on. Nobody is parked on this hole. So Eagle sets the bar, nails that birdie putt. And we've got Sias walking over here. He is very close to that gunite. He's going to be marking his lie, taking a few steps in, taking his meter relief. But because he's safe, he's looking at a birdie putt here. Wow, with the pressure on, I know behind the basket, that's where all the spectators are watching from. So Sias continues to put on a show. One of his first showings on a lead card at such a high caliber tournament like this is.
Yeah, regardless of what happens for Sias Elmore in this event, this is already so much positivity he can take out of this at 29 under par through just 3 rounds, not even 3 rounds yet. So Yale Store, this is a big putt. Keep that momentum going. And he's done just that. That brings Yale Store to 10 under par, our first player to hit double digits in this 3rd round at Vista del Camino.
There we go. Simon makes it a star birdie for the entire card there. I wanted to see more from Simon. I thought he was going to do some trick shots right there, but
Oh, he probably is. I love that freeze frame. We can just see the look on Simon Lazat's face, not quite as relaxed as he was just in the last 2 days. This day has been much more difficult for him. I mean, I love seeing it. It's great to see our players having to deal with some of these struggles, but Eagle McMahon keeping the pressure on right there, 36 under par, co-leaders Simon and Eagle, with Yale Store at 32 under par, just 4 strokes back. But again, the first guy to hit double digits, and our players are going to be making the long walk up to the 13th hole, and we have a large backup on 13. So get used to seeing our faces and hearing our voices. We're going to have to find some things to talk about here.
I got a couple stats we could talk about. I don't know if they're stats. It's just information I found. But if you guys don't know anything about Eagle McMahon, even though you've seen his name at the top of leaderboards so many times, he is a Boulder, Colorado boy. He's been on tour for the last couple of years. I know that he started playing disc golf with his dad. Familiar story, right?
Yep.
But he was a young kid out there playing disc golf, just like Simon was, just like you were, I was. So it's incredible to see Ricky. We were just talking about him as well. So a lot of these young players addicted to the sport, continuing to play, and now they're at a high level. So another fun fact. Ready?
Sure.
Do you know that Eagle's a vegan?
I did know that.
You did know that.
Yeah. And it's bringing up Eagle here. Eagle is just a different type of guy. He runs on a different wavelength than most of the people around him, and it's his hard work and dedication to who he is why he's so successful. So playing with Eagle, for me, it was this young guy, and he kind of just walks to a different beat, but really it's proving that that has worked out and that beats just fine. And I would not be surprised if a world championship or a big major is in his near future at this point.
Yep, we've seen his name at the top like it is right now. He's competing with Simon, and I know that they travel together. Once Eagle jumped on the road and the Disc Mania, I'm sure the Maniac, the RV, they traveled together. So Eagle got to learn from Simon, who was still a new player on tour at that point, but to see him competing together is so great. Their games are very similar. They have the big distance drive, so they're able to go for these shots. And I know when they were on tour, those practice rounds were insane. I mean, the shots that these guys go for in practice, I mean, they're going for everything. A little toned down when they actually have to play rounds where the score matters. It's a little bit different, but we've seen those practice rounds.
Yeah, and typically I am in these groups, but last year was my first opportunity to call live disc golf with Terry. Terry Cloth Miller, and and it was interesting, sort of not being in that position of playing and seeing the way that those two interact on the course is really cool. They both respect each other so much, but both want to win so badly.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's why I just think that we're continuing to see this great play from these two guys. And just looking back down at the cut, we've seen that Dustin Keegan has now made it inside that cut at 12 under. Here in just a little while, the cut will really sort of level off everything around it. So it looks as if 12 under par will be the cut for this tournament. We'll check in on that in just a little while to see if that is finalized. But I think 12 under is going to be the cut.
Yes, not 12 over, 12 under. Gotta be double digits. I was looking at the scores for the whole field. It seemed that most of the field, it was about 144 players that were under par, but really to be in it, you had to be shooting double digits each and every round. And that's what these guys have done to get on these top two cards that we've been watching today.
Yeah, and even par is 122nd. So if you think even par is good on these courses, you are
out your mind.
You are out of your mind. Obviously, not even anywhere near the top of our list here. But this is one of those things. And we've played the Memorial so many times. We've now seen it live so many times. It is just a race. And it's a race. It's not a marathon. It is a sprint for 4 straight days. And when this tournament is over, these players will be exhausted because of what it takes to have to make birdie after birdie after birdie. Even though they make it look easy sometimes, it still is a lot for them to do.
Yes, it is. But they are making it look easy. These top players are 30 under par. That means they have shot incredible rounds to get there. Scotty Withers, we see his name up there. We might be seeing him in tomorrow's round, but Sias Elmore is not letting up. He's still cashing big putts. So we might see these two bouncing around for that 4th spot on the leader card for tomorrow, but still plenty of holes to play. We're only on hole 13, headed into that home stretch.
Yeah, and we have the champ right there, tied for 6th, Paul Macbeth. He is a guy that if he can get going, we can see him make his way onto that lead card for the 4th round into the final round, into the championship round. But at this point, Eagle and Simon look like they don't want to have anybody else join their party. And now that we've made the long walk back, and we're just seeing now, this is our 3rd card, actually, so you can see how much they've stacked up at this point. But as I was saying, now that they've made their long walk back here, and we're on hole 13, we have these 6 holes left. All of these holes are very much so birdieable, with hole 13 being really the most tricky of them all, minus hole 18, the Dragon at this point. We are going to try to see these players slay. But we just have 6 holes left, and we'll see who can play these last 6 holes in the lowest score.
Big putts by the 3rd card. We started off by seeing Philo Brathwaite can a huge putt. That was for birdie. He struggled on 2 holes before that, getting a bogey and a double bogey. So a birdie is what Philo needed. He's at 7 down for the round. It seems like we are on a big backup. I mean, this is hole 13. There's 3 cards on it right now. So we're going to take a look back at the tee pad. Got some players mingling around.
Okay.
So you look good.
No, I have 1 bar though, so soon.
All right, you should have another 2 bars.
Cool. Thanks, man. Okay, cool. You good? Cool. Thanks, man.
He wants to coin that the live listen in right there. We got this face card. Paul Macbeth, first on the tee.
I could hear Paul say, "You've got to be kidding me." We're not sure what happened. I think he might have hit one of the late trees. Not sure if he's inbounds or out of bounds. We can see behind the players just a humongous crowd all gathering around this backup. Jeremy Colling, USDGC champion, Big Germ.
Big shot from Big Germ. Gets the spotter running. From our viewpoint, we do see the crowd forming behind these players. And then just in this camera shot, we've got another 5,000 viewers watching this live coverage. That's what they don't know, but I'm sure they're feeling the pressure. Here we go. Scotty Withers. Big wide shot over the water.
Yeah, and this is one of the most tricky holes on this course. These trees have really just come up and made this so difficult for these players to attack this. They're trying to throw a big, huge hyzer out and around, and it's just so tricky. Ricky is the only one that's able to execute that shot. Getting out and around that pine tree in the middle of your screen there is a mandatory. They have to get out and around that. This being our third hardest hole of this round at playing just almost a half stroke over par.
Yeah, that's interesting. It's just over 400 feet, so it's reachable for all these guys. I mean, what hole isn't at this point? Anything 600 and in is reachable, but these guys are going for these shots. But with that water that comes into play, we might see some errors happening.
Yeah, we get caught off too because we can see all of the cameras and we see everything that's happening. It's
And we've
always
got somebody clearing off the camera with a little breath on it and wiping the screen. So that was a very interesting shot. I wish we would have gotten, maybe we can do a Zuka replay someday on that one. But ooh, that got me giggling.
Yeah, it did. And that's what we need right now. We just have this little bit of backup. Everything's kind of holding up. If you're at home watching us live, go ahead, go to the bathroom, go take a little break. Of course, you can pause it too. It is YouTube, so no problems there. But yeah, we're just sort of waiting here, and our players are our lead card players are back on the tee. They've been waiting there for about 15 minutes. I always remember that being so difficult. I would try to just find a friend in the crowd or somebody that I maybe never even knew and talked about something different than disc golf.
Right, you got to keep that energy flowing, and you can see the sky right here. It's slightly overcast, so you might be getting a little sleepy at this point. Hopefully our lead card's grabbing a snack.
And we can see the players just milling around, and we know now why Paul Macbeth said, "Are you kidding me?" It's because he's stuck up in that tree that Scotty Withers, the tree that's right here in front of Scott. Paul Macbeth's stuck up in that tree. So had he somehow gotten through that, he would have had a birdie opportunity. But now at this point, he's going to be having a long par look.
Good right here. It's up against the base of it. As best you can, yeah.
And of course, with this being such a small tree, Paul has to take his mark almost near the trunk of the tree. He's now line 3 as the tree ROB in this event.
Incredible save. That is a par save for Paul Macbeth. That was enormous.
Zuka replay, and I was fist pumping back here in the studio. This is awesome to see. Great putt by Paul Macbeth, and that's the reason why he has won this tournament so many times. Not willing to give up a stroke just yet.
That was such great coverage of that putt by Paul Macbeth. I felt like I was putting vicariously through him. That was so entertaining. That's the shot you want to hit every time. Let's see if Ricky can line up this putt. Water just 15 feet behind the basket and to the left. Chains out on that one, lands safe. It was good to run for it. You've got that water looking at you, but Ricky manages this land safe. We've got Scotty Withers. This is for par. He left his upshot a little bit short there. Again, water right behind the basket. Cans it right in the heart. Good par save, keeping him alive. He's right there in the top 4.
And I love having the ability to see these players play these holes as we're still not even to our featured card, coming to the 13th hole. And we're going to start to clear this fairway out, and we will see now our featured card, lead card, the leaders of the tournament play this hole. And let's get a quick overview, if we could, of this hole. We haven't seen the overview quite yet of hole 13, but hole 13 is 405 feet. And here we go. Let's take a drone ride. And if you look there on the left side of your screen, you can see all those trees guarding this green. And we'll see the players going up and over the top. You can also take the low route. And if you see just on the left side of your screen now, that pine tree, there's a mandatory marking on there. You have to go to the right of that pine tree. But for these big players, that should not be a problem. Water just behind the basket. And here we are live back on the tee. Eagle McMahon.
Picking the cloud he wants to aim at. Pick the right one there. Parks the hole. That was a beautiful shot by Eagle. I like to see that play wide and up and over all the trees, taking them all out of play. I'm sure we'll see the same shot executed by Simon here. Throwing it a little inside there. You can see Eagle's disc, and Simon is just outside of that. Doesn't hit the perfect cloud that he wanted to, but still a nice shot. Basket height right there.
Yeah, those two showing why they are the leaders by 4 strokes at this point. Those are 2 incredible shots, and shots that only just a few players on this planet can even execute.
You see Yale Store throwing the up the gut shot.
Landing right near where Paul Macbeth's putt was from, so we do know that that is makeable. We also saw Yale Store lay up a putt of that length with water behind it yesterday, so be interesting to see if he's going to try to continue to keep the pressure on our leaders as they are closer to the basket for their birdies.
Guys, Elmore throwing a similar shot that we saw there, but a little farther down the fairway. He's got the home crowd rooting for him. I can see him giving a bunch of high fives to all his friends that are watching, pumping him up. Zayas is from the Bay Area. I know you've seen him before out on the courses out in the Bay Area, Nate, but you see the crowds growing. We're going to take a second while everybody walks through that crowd and hear a little word from our sponsors.
Big germ, Jeremy Colling on the next hole up ahead, hole 14, pulling that wide, immediately calling for the crowd. He did not hit anybody from the crowd, but went past the mandatory tree. So that is a big mistake for Big Germ on what should be a basic drive, really just putting themselves in position.
Scotty Weathers taking a second. These players are team right up on that sidewalk, so there's walkers, there's bikers that they have to contend with.
And now there's just a huge crowd. We can see all of those people. Scotty doing just that, putting it in perfect position. We saw it skip up there just in the background. We'll head over to our leaders, or I think actually the leaders are waiting for these tee shots to happen because the crowd is so big. Here's Ricky.
It's a great move to wait. You can hear the crowd. They want to watch both players, so they're giving an applause to the chase card there. But the attention now turns back to the lead card. We have Yale Store. A shorter drive here, but again, that's the tree that Paul Macbeth just made a putt from. Let's see if Yale gives it a run here.
And Yale just missing on that right side, not hitting anything. Maybe that's favorable for him. Had he just hit the rim, he might have kicked and rolled out of bounds. And we will now look over here to the right with Simon Lizotte lining up this birdie putt. Eagle McMahon is inside him for birdie at this point.
Looked a little low. Thankfully, he didn't get too much of a skim off of the cage there. His putt stays in bounds, not too far past the basket.
Yeah, the door is open for Eagle McMahon, who had our CTP drive. Sias Elmore taking that middle shot, giving himself an opportunity, but water just behind this basket.
He keeps it going. Those are huge tester putts. He's had those one after another, and he continues to make those. And that is why we see his name with these big boys shooting incredible golf. Wow, that was good. Another birdie for his scorecard there. Eagle McMahon steps up to his birdie putt.
Beautiful birdie there by Eagle, taking now a one-stroke lead over Simon. Simon's not in the basket just quite yet. And he is now, and a little bit of a slow walk there. Not happy with that. Yale will move in here for his putt. But boy, I have to say, Sias Elmore up and down round, but he's made some good shots in there. I think he's just had a little bit of nerves early on, but 3 bogeys and to still being tied for 4th is awesome. Just shows how well he's played up to this point.
There's a par tap in for Yale. And we're taking a look at the leaderboard here. We just talking about Sias. He's at 4 down for the round, so not extremely hot, but he is shooting. He's at 30 under for the tournament, so he's right in there, tied for 4th with Scotty Withers. So this is really great to see. If he keeps and continues to slam those putts, he's going to maintain this. Scotty Withers, just mentioned his name here. He's 9 down for the round. He's on fire. Crowd loves that shot that he just threw.
Yeah, coming back to us, we're locked in on these scores and locked in on this video here. And, we'll go back and see Paul Macbeth throw his upshot here on the 14th hole. 14th hole, a fairly easy par 4. If you can put your drive in a good position, we can see Paul just throwing a mid-range just to the left of the basket. That'll be a birdie opportunity for Paul. But yeah, with the up and down play from Sias, it's cool to see him just kind of still sticking in there at this point.
Oh, yeah. He's on the leader card. One of the few times that I think he has ever been on the leader card. And again, we're at a big tournament. This is the inaugural event of the Disc Golf Pro Tour. He's with the likes of Eagle McMahon, Simon Lizotte, and Yale Store, and he is holding his ground. And he's showing off. He's showing off with those putts, and it's impressive to watch.
It really is. And yeah, he is just tied for fourth, only moving down one place. And again, just at 4 under. If we look at the top 10, he's the worst score of those, but his play up to that point has just kind of kept him in it. If you can somehow find a way to put all of that away, he can really just continue and he might be able to come back tomorrow and just play better because he's going to feel more comfortable.
Exactly. Putting a round in, a solid round in today, and then giving yourself that second opportunity for redemption is what tomorrow is going to be about. And Jeremy Coling is going to have some redemption as well tomorrow. Not playing his best, missing another putt there.
Yeah, and that was big Jeremy Coling, and we know that he went OB off of the tee. And now we see Ricky Wysocki making his birdie and back on the tee. Eagle McMahon has fired off. We see the picture-in-picture action all over this course. Great job, Johnny. Paul McBeth cashing that putt as well, moving to 9 under, I believe, through 14 holes. So yep. Paul McBeth still having one of the best rounds of the day.
Sias Elmore on the tee. Man, he's got an incredible whip. It looks like it's all upper body, but he manages to put it out there. He's going to be in good placement, kind of on the left side of the fairway, but he'll be looking straight at the basket with his upshot.
Yeah, Sias learning to play disc golf in the Bay Area of California. He knows how to control discs. And he showed that there, and so did Simon, just putting it in position, keeping it just inside the OB that runs the left side of this fairway.
Yale Store, giving it some height, giving it a little skip. Going to be in good placement as well.
Yeah, and at 655 feet on this par 4, that's a short par 4 for these players. And really, we're going to see, probably 4 birdie opportunities. Yale Store at 10 under par. He is the low score on the course, but Scotty Withers just birdied hole 14 as well. He is 10 under par for the round, 31 under in 4th place, all lonesome. So these guys aren't giving up. Simon Lizotte just at 6 under par, but still just 1 stroke behind our leader, Eagle.
This is so much fun. I mean, look at the technology. We got 2 computers pulled up. We've got scores instantly coming in on UDisc Live. We're looking at 5 screens, live camera action from 2 cards. So I think we're doing pretty good on this live coverage. There's so much to talk about. There's so much to watch. This is a great time. And to see all of our players get live scoring, this is really fun. We can see them moving up and down the leaderboard. And yeah, I'm enjoying it. I hope you guys are too. See the leaderboard over there on the left. There's a couple new names at that bottom. We saw the winner of the 2019 Las Vegas Challenge, Calvin Heimberg, tied for 9th place with another new name that we've been seeing quite a lot on the leaderboard this weekend, Alex Russell. Those guys are finishing off the leaderboard, and here we are back on the hole with Yale Store, first to tee.
Yeah, and just to give a few other players some big shout outs, Grady Shue shooting a 12 under par today. He is in the clubhouse with that. That is the low score in the clubhouse. Adam Hames, Austin Hannum shooting 11 under pars as well. John E. McRae, who was from our first featured card, shooting 11 under at this point with just 1 hole to play, and a beautiful shot there by Yale.
He positioned himself so nicely in the middle of the fairway there. He was able to take advantage of all of that height that he was able to get on that upshot and parked it. Simon on the left side of the fairway, he's got a great opportunity to use the hyzer shot for his advantage.
Yeah, and these are just little flip up shots with mid range discs. Simon doing the same thing, sliding it in there for birdie, and all of those people at home that want to take their game to the next level, learning how to throw mid ranges with the hyzer release, getting it to fly flat and straight is so important, and it can take your game to the next level.
I would agree, and I know the courses that you played on, especially playing out of De La Viega, you needed to learn those putter shots, those mid-range shots, learn how to dial that in and execute and know the distance that you can throw the mid-range disc. Another mid-range shot. Here's Sias Elmore playing it a little wide and getting hung up on those willow trees right there.
Yeah, and we've talked a lot about Sias just here in the last 5 minutes, and that was really just a huge misstep for Sias. Not a great shot at all. Really, he should make that shot nine or 10 times out of 100 or out of 10, not out of 100. He's much better than that. But here we have Eagle McMahon just clearing the fans off the left side of the fairway. He's going to take the sidearm route. He just needs to avoid that wall.
Again, he's got to pick a cloud to aim at, give it the right angle that he needs. Brings it around just perfectly. He's going to be right there for his captain birdie.
Yeah, if we were just keeping our eye on Eagle, it looked like he was a little bit concerned about it, but no concerns for him there. 3 birdie opportunities on this 14th hole. Sias is going to be the only player who's probably at this point just laying up for his par.
That would be safe to say. I believe he's outside circle 2 right here. He's only 33% for circle 2 putting for today's round. I'm looking at some UDIS live stats. Not exactly sure what I'm saying, but hopefully you guys are checking these out too and deciphering them for yourself.
Yeah, and it is great if you have the UDisc Live app on your phone or on your computer. Go ahead and pull it up and see all the statistics of our top players here.
Giving it a great run there. Sias was trying to save that. That would have been a birdie for him, but looks like a par.
And Simon Lizotte makes that birdie. I think at this point, everybody else should do the same and make their putts from inside of where Simon was. So what we're going to see is Eagle McMahon moving to 38 under par, Simon Lizotte at 37 under par, 10 under and 7 under respectively for their rounds.
Yale being a little more deliberate there, taking his time, sticking to his routine. There's a lot of pressure on, and like we say, I do not take any strokes for granted. He did not take that putt for granted, but that was a birdie for Yale, putting him at 11 down for the round.
Yeah, and Yale Store is our lead dog of this final group for the round, with 11 under par through just 14 holes. And we'll see how he can attack this next hole. And there typically is a backup here. I always remember looking over and seeing the backup and going, oh man, I just want to get to the clubhouse at this point. But Yali's probably having so much fun. He could stay out there all day if he continues to play like this.
Yeah, and I know he's enjoying this beautiful weather. And while we wait for these players for a second, we're going to take a commercial break. Hear what Alyssa Van Lannen's got to say for us.
Hi guys, I'm Alyssa Van Lannen. You've probably seen me hiding in front of the tee pad or laying in the bushes trying to get the best shot. For the best moments in disc golf on and off the course through my photos and videos, check out patreon.com/Alyssa Van Lannen.
And thank you to Alyssa Van Lannen and Zuka Kart for supporting the Disc Golf Pro Tour. We're supporting them. We're looking pretty stylish today. We're up in our game
Yeah,
every
they're supporting
day.
us, I guess, giving us some clothes.
Giving us a sweet backdrop. I know you guys have liked the sheet in the past. We like to change up the background. This is our this is our comforter actually off of our bed. So Disc Golf Pro Tour, we love supporting them. We're happy to be here in the live coverage. But let's take a look while we have this backup chance. Let's take a look at Jale Stor's stats up on UDisc Live. He's from Helsinki, Finland. We've been there many times. There's great disc golf. So Jale has tuned in his game, and today's round has been incredible. He has hit the fairway 93% of the time. His scramble rate is 100%, which has only been a couple times because he's been hitting the fairway so much. 100% circle 1x putting. I mean, that's it right there. If you're hitting the fairway, you're landing those putts close to the basket. He's making it easy, but he's hitting and executing every shot that he's stepped up to.
Yeah, minus just a couple big putts for Jale Store. He's made it seem so easy, and he's been very comfortable out there on the course, which I absolutely love to see from Jale. And sometimes, again, we talked about it yesterday, as we just see our group here messing around. Our second place players, Simon Lizotte and Jeremy Colling. We see Madison Walker in there, Paige Pierce, Hannah Macbeth, all of the players just hanging around having a good time.
And we mentioned they're all gamers. You see the ladies taking their hand at the game right now. Haley doesn't want to play at this moment, but Simon is so athletic. So is Big Germ. I mean,
yeah, for years, Big Germ had a hacky sack or a foot bag that he would always be kicking around, and there's a volleyball here. You know, I miss these times right now. It's times like this that I wish I was just hanging around, having some fun with these guys. But it just goes to show you that even though the pressure is on, they still find time to have a little bit of fun while they can.
It's not going to. I don't think it's going to look cool on camera. The ball's going to be in the air, and I'm going to be doing something.
Colling always wants to show off, but
yeah. I've coined Big Germ drama because he loves being in the spotlight, and Big Germ always has so many tricks up his sleeve when it comes to little things like this. This is Hannah Macbeth. We can just commentate some what do they call this?
It's a volleyball.
No, I know, but like when soccer players just what do they call it? I'm blanking. I usually don't blank in this position.
Yep, it is a volleyball.
Well, of course it's a volleyball.
Off to the left here is actually a basketball court. We have seen players in the past also playing basketball. There's some swings also behind, so it's a good hole to have a backup on, keeping our players entertained.
Yeah.
You really like that trash can.
Okay, there we go. I'll go dunk on that, baby. I'm not going to hit it. I'm just going to dunk on it.
Yeah, and as you said, I have seen Jeremy Coley dunk the ball quite a few times. He's saying he's going to dunk on a baby. Come on, Big Germ. You got to find somebody bigger than that to try to dunk on.
I love the crowd involvement. It's like when they throw up a beach ball at a big concert. The disc golf style of that.
Is there a JV circle I can Crazy world just sound.
How did your feet just fall?
How did I miss it? Is the question.
That was really impressive by Hannah Macbeth there. Clearly has some soccer skills. That volleying?
I think it's either volleying or juggling. I'm still trying to find the word. But anyways, our players are now getting onto the tee. You can see Paul Macbeth with a smile. But, Paul always finds a way to be locked in no matter really what's going on. Of course, he enjoys seeing everybody around, but he just finds a way to stay locked in. That's one reason why McBeast has that name. And you see Paul here on the tee. Paul is 9 under through 14 holes. And Paul going for the roller on this hole. That was a medium clap, but still a clap nonetheless.
Scotty Withers. That right-hand sideline, riding that side hill. He's going to get a good skip. Hopefully not too far left. In the middle of the fairway. Not a ton of distance on that, but he's placed himself in a good position.
Yeah, more of a position shot there for Scotty, and don't love that play at all. Ricky going for the roller as well. And I better explain why I don't like that Scotty Withers threw. And one of the reasons is because when you play the hyzer there, it's going to put you on the left side of the fairway. There's a couple of mandatory trees that he's going to have to play around. So he just brings all of that into play. 3 of our 4 players on this chase card going for the roller shot. We see the roller now just rushing past our catch camera, landing right out in the middle.
That's a great position to be in. He'll be able to clear that corner, have a nice hyzer back into the basket. Really good placement on that.
Steal it for like, yeah, I kind of care, but you can kind of.
You can hear the players still talking about the volleyball. I think they're going to hang around for a little bit longer while our lead card waits for the chase card to clear off the fairway.
Yeah, and while physically, time-wise, they have not been out there for all that much time, we see a lot longer time-wise rounds. It's a long ways to walk. It's a big, long walk. Again, somewhere near a mile down to the end of this link-style course before they turn around and come back. So just a lot of walking on this course.
Yeah, absolutely. It's not treacherous walking by any means. Nice and flat and casual. A walk in the park. It literally is a park, and we do see a lot of pedestrians walking and biking along this park. But for our players, it's nice and easy breezy. Definitely cart golf. The place to have a cart. The place to have a Zuka cart.
Yeah, we see carts used by our players on these types of courses, and you can see now Scotty Withers in the middle of our screen. And we'll get a look behind him eventually as our cameraman gets set of what he's dealing with. And I'll have an opportunity to explain. You can see just there on the left side of our screen, the red lines on that tree. That's a mandatory tree. He now has to try to play a low power skip shot and skip it all the way around to the basket, which is about probably 300 feet where he is right now, 250 feet maybe. But it's just so far to the left, he has to use that ground play.
Good angle on this. He gets a very nice skip. I'm not sure it carried far enough. He'll still have a pretty big putt, but good execution. I like the angle on that, but like you said, he's tight up on those mango trees, and that's basically all he can do to get around that corner.
Yeah, we've seen players in the past, myself, I've seen so many players make so many big mistakes on this hole off of the tee. Maybe Scotty's just trying to take that out of play, playing this hole possibly for par, an outside chance for birdie. But that hyzer play off the tee is definitely the most safe, and seeing the rollers that we've saw from other players is definitely the much more aggressive play.
Yes, it is. And when I used to play from that far back tee pad, I would play the same shot that Scotty had, but it was just a safe play for me. You're riding along that side hill, but hoping to land a little bit closer to the bottom of that side hill. He got that big skip, as we saw, putting him tight along that sidewalk
Yeah.
and the Mando trees.
And we just saw Jeremy Colling throw and not throw a very good shot. He actually hit one of the trees that do guard this basket. You can see all of those gum style trees that are guarding this hole. That's why the players try to throw the big roller, to get out past that so they can have a little bit of a straighter shot into this green. This is a birdie. You can see Paul is up to the right, going to have a great angle. Again, it's all about the skip on this shot. Playing the skip perfectly. Paul Macbeth, multiple time champion of the Memorial, knows exactly what to do.
Slightly elevated basket. That's like a tweener right there. That's not completely high, but the pole is longer than a standard basket. Back to the crowd. Everybody is dispersing here.
Well, it seems as if maybe we can hear the players talking. Oh, and I know exactly what they're talking about here. We've seen this so many times. Ricky Wysocki has thrown a roller, but what happened is, seemingly, is that his roller went OB to the left of the tree before getting to the mandatory, which means that he went out of bounds before the mandatory. I'm not quite sure if that's the call that the players in his group are making at this point. This is going to force him to have to play from where he was last in bounds. Playing quickly, you can see his frustration.
So in this case, he did go out of bounds before he missed the Mando. Is that the call? If it was otherwise, if he had just missed the Mando, he would have had to proceed to the drop zone.
Yeah, and if I were Ricky, I would play a provisional in this case, because it shouldn't matter if he crossed out of bounds before the Mando. It should be more that he missed the mandatory, because he could have been in the air and who knows when he went out of bounds. It's really the mandatory miss that's in effect here. And maybe Johnny V in our ear can correct us on that if we did make a mistake. But he has played a provisional at this point and went to the drop zone, which was his other option had he missed the mandatory.
That's a good call. When in doubt, provisional, provisional, provisional. You hear that from Andrew Sweeten, tour manager at the PDGA. He's ingrained that in all of us, and in situations like this where you're just not sure on the call, play that provisional shot. It's worth it.
Yeah, we just saw a disc come into the basket, and that was going to be Jeremy Colling making his upshot. And our players are now getting ready to tee back on the tee. Again, this is just our chase card we're seeing. We still have our lead card to play this 15th hole. And if we have this second, we should take a look at the 15th hole from above.
See those Mando trees. Maybe we'll see all those out of bounds that we've been talking about. Our lead card is lining up with Jeremy Colling in the distance. Here we go. Eagle McMahon lining up what looks like a roller shot. I'm going to almost say 100% that he's throwing a roller. Sky roller. Flips it over just a little too much. It's going to be at the top of that hill. Through the fence is out of bounds, but thankfully he cut rolls just before that. It's going to be an interesting stance for him, but he might have a good opportunity to shoot a hyzer around for his upshot. Simon Lizotte also looks like he's throwing a roller as well, and we see him moving down the fairway. He's booking it. Better angle, getting more distance. Again, rolling up by that fence. He's going to be on the side hill there.
Yeah, and the players could be throwing just huge rollers here, but they're actually just using the roller as a position shot, put themselves on the right side of this par 4 at 741 feet. If they can get it out there, you know, somewhere 500 feet-ish, they're going to have about 250 into this green. You see Yale Store at 11 under par. Using that roller as well. And you can see how quickly these rollers are flipping over. And it's interesting to see that play. I know Yale could just throw a backhand there to that position, but he's feeling much more comfortable with the roller.
Last player on the box is Sias. He does not look like he's throwing a roller. I think he's going for the up the gut shot or maybe the anhyzer. Skimming right through those trees. He's going to end up on the left side of the fairway. We're going to see the shot. He's going to be tight up to those mando trees as we just saw the chase card was.
Yeah, and Sias is going to be dealing with the same exact thing that Scotty Withers was. And it's just when you're on the far left side of this fairway, you just have no opportunity to get to the basket whatsoever. And that's one of the reasons we see these players throw that roller shot.
Yeah, I think that is a great play. You want to go on that right side of the fairway and give yourself the opportunity to reach the basket in 2. Here we are, chase card, Paul McBeth.
And as a score update, Paul McBeth did tap in that birdie on hole 15. He is now 10 under par through 15 holes, making a run at that lead card tomorrow. Tough to see how that shot finished, and we're going to see a new tee pad on 16 this year, adjusting the angle that the players have to play into this green. I really like this change, just a little bit of a different perspective for our players. Scotty Withers holding strong in the 4th position at 31 under par, 10 under round through 15 holes.
I know we'll talk more about this hole and this tee change when the lead card steps up, but it is a different angle than we're used to playing at. The tee used to be a little bit more left, so it was using the hill as more of a backdrop. Now we're aimed right at that sidewalk. We can see the spectators are lining up on that.
And I like this play by Jeremy Coing. There is a mandatory tree there, but working it into the side hill, Jeremy's going to have a birdie putt. We will head back to our lead card. Here is Yale Store, leaving that roller pretty far back. He's going to have about 400 feet into this green, but with a great angle. So all about working the skip here for Yale.
Keeping that shot nice and high. Had a good amount of speed on there, but you can see he's between circle 1 and circle 2 right there, between the red flag and the blue flag. But we've seen him hit those putts before. He had a great look at it.
Yeah, and just with how short his drive was, he had so far to go still yet. We can see Sias on the left side of this fairway. You really need to get your drive at least 400 feet off the tee just to give yourself a sort of a decent look. I think at this point we can see Sias a good 80 feet from that mandatory tree where Ricky was. So I think just playing this hole for a par at this point.
Such a tough angle for Sias's shot there. It's almost like a dog leg from the position that he put himself in. He was able to work himself around those Mando trees, not even really coming into play, but forcing that hyzer skip shot.
Yeah, and this shot is all about the skip. Eagle McMahon with a great angle, having to risk going out of bounds, but with just an ideal angle coming into this green.
Looks like he's close up on that fence, but hopefully that doesn't affect his follow through. Blinded by the light. We see the eagle shot come in, circle the basket. Park job. He was up on that elevated side hill and probably got a really great view of the basket, and he nailed it.
Yeah, so the risk that he took off of the tee pays off. He's going to have a drop-in birdie. Eagle is leading this tournament at 38 under par.
Simon nestling it up on the other side of the basket. He and Eagle are sitting there pretty for birdie drop-in putts.
Absolutely, and you can see that more aggressive roller putting them up on that right side gives them just the perfect line, for that birdie opportunity. Yale Store going to have an outside chance for birdie. We'll see if he can make that putt. He's 11 under. Sias Elmore, really outside chance for birdie at this point, just playing this hole for par.
Yes, he is. But this is great golf to watch. Yale Store is killing it. He's got one of the best scores of the day. He's at 11 down. Best score of the day has been shot by Johnny McRae and Grady Shue at 12 down. They've already finished. Tied with the second best score is Austin Hannum.
Yep.
Hannum.
Yeah.
And but Yale Store is only on hole 14, so he's got lots of golf to play. Might hit another birdie here to tie that best score of the day.
Yeah, absolutely. And we have a bunch of 10 under pars just right behind those guys. The likes of Philo Brathwaite, Paul Macbeth, Eagle McMahon,
Scotty Withers,
Johnny McRae shooting that 12 under par. That's a great round for Johnny. And as we said, Sias was really far out. He's playing this hole for par. And here's a big putt here for Yale Store. Let's see if he can cash in with the two leaders literally parked at this basket.
Those shadows are getting long there on the fairway. The day is wearing on. Let's see if Yale still has that fire within him. "40 feet outside the basket, but gives it a great run, just slightly high. It's a game of inches, and 1 inch lower, and that would have been in."
Yeah, that was a great look for Yale. So close for Yale.
That's a par for Sias on that hole. Played it as good as he could with that drive off the tee. Here we go. Eagle's going to drop in his putt along with Simon.
Yeah, and we know that the group ahead of him has completed the 16th hole. Paul Macbeth parring that hole. There we go. We see the leader card. Let's go ahead and get a flyby of this 16th hole. We haven't seen a flyby here in just a little bit. Let's go ahead and take a look at it. 390 feet. This is the new angle that we can see on this 16th hole. It's just a par 3, a hole that the players want to birdie. As we fly by here, we'll see this tree on the left is a mandatory that players must go to the right. But the challenge starts right here. It's all about the green. OB high on the road to the right, but really it's that sidewalk on the left that can come into play. And that's why I love them changing the angle, because if these players don't come into this green with the proper angle, that sidewalk is a definite possibility for them.
Yes, it is. And we'll see that on the putts as well. Another elevated basket. And being on that side hill, these guys are going to be running for birdie putts. And if you hit low, you hit metal, you don't get into the basket, you have that chance of rolling down the hill out of bounds. And you don't want to be making your bogey save from down there by the sidewalk.
Yeah, we have just 3 holes left as we race to the finish here of this third round. Eagle just meandering around the tee, getting ready here soon. But, this is something for all of our fans at home to remember for tomorrow. These are the 3 holes that are going to decide the champion of this tournament. Depending on how it all comes out, we could see Eagle and Simon battling it out towards the end tomorrow in this exact same location.
I think our lead card is waiting a second. The chase card just cleared, and they're stepping off the next tee, which is just behind the basket there, up on the side hill.
Yeah, and we'll see Eagle lining up for a sidearm. I was hoping that he would do this. While the sidearm brings the mandatory tree into play, the disc coming into the hillside at that angle is ideal as long as he can control the spin and the speed and avoid any type of rollaway. And there's that rollaway we're talking about. He could not, but he does avoid going out of bounds. Very lucky for our leader to not go out of bounds. So this is just a very tricky hole.
He's going to have a decision whether he's running for that or not, pinned behind that pine tree. Simon Lizotte, close-up shot right there. Following it up with another sidearm here. Low skipper, takes a little skip off the sidewalk there. He's at the bottom of the hill, looking straight up at the basket. Here we go, Yale Store. He's going to be throwing a backhand shot on this one. Excited to see which line he decides to hit.
And this backhand shot is all about angle control in the air. And Yale doing that beautifully, giving himself a 20-foot putt straight up the hill, although this basket is slightly elevated, so it's even more extreme uphill.
Sias also choosing the backhand line. See his disc at quite an angle there, but the way it catches that side hill doesn't give him a lot of skip. At the bottom of the hill, I think he's at the circle's edge right there.
Yeah, and we can see that the change of this tee pad has made this hole more difficult. We'll take a little break as the players walk up the fairway, and we'll come back to see how they can handle this steep green.
For me, it's time with my friends.
For me, it's a walk in the park.
For me,
Oh.
job.
For me, it's fun.
Oh, wow. Funny.
Disc golf, it is a way of life. It's the way we've lived our lives. Scotty Withers is living the life right there. Big putt. That's for a birdie on the 17th hole right there.
Yeah, moving Scotty to 11 under par. Ricky Wysocki also birdieing that hole. And a person we haven't talked about a lot in this round is Ricky Wysocki. He's only now 7 under par through 17 holes, having a rough round. He is tied for 8th. Big Germ also having a rough round. We now see our leaders, and what a beautiful angle here to see the severity of this green.
This is Sias Elmore.
Oh my goodness, and that is exactly what the 16th green can do to any player at any time. If you're going to go for this putt, you must, it's an absolute must that you put it in the basket. Otherwise, anything can happen.
I was wondering what else you were going to say, but it is a must. You put it in the basket. You do not want to roll like that. It's like Sias is still out, so he rolls his cart to the other side of the basket, still at the base of that side hill.
Yeah, and the one player shot we did not see was Simon Lizotte. He has laid up underneath the basket for a par.
That is the second huge putt from that exact same position that we have seen today. Paige Pierce cashed a huge putt from right down there earlier this morning. Sias follows it up with a huge par save. Just a little inside Sias's lie there. We've got Simon lining up.
This is weird. Well, we're going to call what we're seeing right now. We just see Simon Lizotte's disc rolling away. He's quickly stepping up to re-putt, as that is his choice, since that disc did go out of bounds, and he's quickly missed that putt as well. Personally, I am totally confused here. I missed the fact that Simon Lizotte had not already played, and that must have been Eagle. Why do I get those two mixed up so much? Eagle McMahon is up under the basket for a par. That was Simon Lizotte, now lying 5, I believe.
He is lying 5. I was just looking at the UDIS live, trying to catch up as well. Lots of shots being thrown by Simon, but it is sitting in a double bogey from where he is right now. Yale Store for a birdie putt. Disregards everything that just happened to Simon, goes for it, cashes it. There's a birdie. That's a big stroke swing on this hole.
Yeah, so I do apologize to everybody back. I did mean Eagle McMahon. He had laid up from his position. He's going to take a par. You know, and the one thing that Simon did was play so quickly, and people at home might be wondering what has happened there, but since he went out of bounds, he has the choice to rethrow from his previous lie. He is going to knock it down for a double bogey. That's a 2-stroke swing with Eagle and a 3-stroke swing with Yale Store.
Wow, and we need to pull up the leaderboard here because that was a huge shift of momentum. Eagle McMahon now 3 strokes over Simon after that hole. Yale Store 2 strokes right behind Simon, still right in it. But man, that was a treacherous hole. I mean, we knew that those rolls would happen, and we saw them live right there. Man.
Absolutely. Our chase card has made their way to the 18th tee. And this is a new 18th hole that we will see these players play as they go there. So 17th hole is clear. And wow, Simon Lizotte taking a horrible roll. I've seen that so many times. I remember Nico LaCastro. I remember Ricky Wysocki. I remember all of these players hitting that basket and rolling away. We are looking at the 17th hole, 243 feet, a must-get birdie for all of the competitors on our lead card today. But man, the 16th hole yet again becomes a factor in the Memorial Championship.
Yes, it does. Showing his teeth. It seems like an easy hole. Yale made it look easy, cashed his birdie putt there, but we're in the home stretch. Now these players only have 2 holes left, but man, they're just to rack on the strokes like that, like Simon did. That's not how you want to finish these last 3 holes.
No, and Simon does not look comfortable, and he didn't look comfortable when he immediately stepped up. And, you know, he was frustrated, absolutely, and we totally understand that. But he needed to take a minute, you know, kind of clear his mind and make that next putt. He's now double bogeyed the 16th hole. When we look at those scores, yeah, and we will look at our chase card now on the 18th hole. This is Jeremy's 3rd shot from this 18th hole, and we haven't really talked much about it. We're about to talk about it as we come into this 18th hole. brand new for this 2019 Memorial Championship, and Jeremy wondering what has happened, and he's now put it inbound there. That is his third shot from the tee. One of those holes that we could just see huge numbers on.
We saw huge numbers this morning. We said Paige Pierce cashed a huge putt on hole 16, but when she came down to hole 18, she had some issues. Couple out of bounds shots from the tee pad, like we just witnessed Coling also doing. It's the dragon, like Nate nicknamed it, and it is showing its teeth. Back on the tee pad with Yale Store.
The one thing these players are going to try to avoid is going a little bit low of the basket where it's nice and hot, dry ground, and hot I mean by speed. If they land a little bit low and left, they can skizzle just out of bounds. Yale not doing that at all. Yale will be looking to move to 13 under par for this third round. Yale's really been the superstar of this group. And so has Eagle, now taking a 3-stroke lead. He's just 1 stroke behind Yale, but it just seems so much easier for Yale at this point.
Eagle McMahon playing a slight anhyzer on that putter shot. Hits that hot side. Skids up right next to the basket.
Yeah, and that was all about ground play. The angle just turned into the hill just slightly. Nice picture-in-picture, seeing what's at the tee as well as at the green. 3 drives, 3 par jobs. Simon Lizotte taking no time whatsoever and doing what we couldn't quite see exactly what happened there. Couple of claps. We're not sure if Simon's gone out of bounds. If he has, it'll be a par putt. If he hasn't, it will be a birdie look. And it sounds as if he has stayed inbound, so he will have that birdie look. But, you know, this is what we're seeing, and we're coming into the 18th hole. After we play this 17th hole, and Simon needs to take a breath right now. He's going to come into a very difficult 18th hole. And the tournament, even though we have 18, 19 holes left to play, is really in the balance right now.
Yes, I'm feeling a little uneasy. I mean, leader Simon Lizotte just getting derailed right there on that last hole, stepping up and kind of, you know, just immediately going for his next shot, shooting that tee shot. I mean, it's an easy putter shot, but let's take your time. Continue to keep striving for those birdies, Simon. 2 holes left. Can't let up now.
Yeah, we just see Eagle McMahon there making that birdie putt, moving to 40 under par, and we're not even through 3 rounds yet. Sias doing the same. Sias sticking in there strong. Happy for Sias. Simon putting out quickly.
LA Store taking his time on that elevated basket, but that's birdies for the whole card, putting LA Store now at 13 under. That is a hot score of the day with 1 hole to play.
Yeah, and let's go over and take a look at that 18th hole. I want to have plenty of time to talk about this hole. Here it is, 401 feet, a brilliant change by our tournament directors, bringing in this really challenging last hole. At 400 feet, it's no problem distance-wise, but as you can see, it's over the water the entire time. It's going all the way back here to this very tight green. We have OB on the left. There is a wall there that can help our players if that comes to it, but you can see it's slightly elevated. And the big issue here, Val, is that these players, because it's 401 feet, these players can reach it, but they have to go over OB the entire way.
So what is the play here, Nate? If there's OB all surrounding this pin, what is the play?
Well, I think there's a lot of different plays that these players can play with this hole. We saw the ladies playing short as it laid out well for them. Paige Pierce did go for it, leaving it out over the water twice, just as Jeremy Colling did. But, for me, it all would come down to how you practice this. Really, at 401 feet, a nice controlled fairway driver would do the job, especially with, look at that water, no air movement whatsoever. But really, it's all about nerves on this one. If you're feeling any nerves, I say play out to the left and play it for par. This is the shot of the tournament, folks, here for Simon Lizotte to this point. So important. And I'm so glad we did the live listen in there, Val, because we saw and heard Simon Lizotte just hit the light post and stay inbounds.
We have some action from the chase car. We're going to see how Jeremy Colling played this hole 18, the Dragon, going for the overhand.
Yeah, throwing the overhand off of the tee and going into the water. So he never crossed back in bounds. Ricky Wysocki not happy as well. And you could see what Yale did was perfect, executed perfectly, as well as Eagle. Simon getting a little lucky, but Sias the one. That's the shot you want to try to avoid. This is now Jeremy's second drive, yanking it way too wide, never coming back in bounds. And that's why we saw him throwing his third right here from the tee.
This is such an interesting
Line 5, yeah.
Such an interesting game plan. I mean, to go one overhand shot, then go backhand, and then it looked like his third shot was also backhand. Not sure if he practiced doing it that way, but you never know what happens when a couple OB shots, when they start piling on. You never know what you're going to do.
Yeah, and this is Paul Macbeth. And that was for birdie. He finishes 11 under par, tied for 5th. We will not see him on tomorrow's card. Looks like we will see Scotty Withers, though, and he deserves that position.
Yeah, he played incredible golf, finished up 11 under. He's sitting at minus 32 for the tournament. Again, Sias was out of bounds, so here he is throwing his third shot. Smashing it into that Disc Golf Pro Tour pyramid. Eagle is next up. Simon trying to get a little energy right behind him, jumping up. The last few throws of the day, you want to give it your all. Eagle's wanting to give it
his all.
Give it his all.
This is a statement here.
And a statement mark with an exclamation point. Way to finish this round with another birdie. That's 13 down for Eagle McMahon. Now he's sitting a handful of strokes over Simon.
Yeah, and we have Yale Store who did hit that wall and stayed in bounds. So this is for birdie. This is for birdie and the low round of the day for Yale. This would put him at 14 under. Either way, it's been an impressive day for Yale. And unfortunately, he does not put that one in. But no matter what, Yale can walk away from this round being proud of what he's able to do. And
Simon probably has a sigh of relief right there. He's sighing relief that the round is over. A little bit of struggles at the end, but cashes that for a birdie. Finishes 8 under for the round. Good showing from Sias Elmore. He only shot 4 down for the round. Ended up 30. He is now in 6th place. Yale Store, big smiles. I'm sure all of Finland is cheering for their homeboy. That is 13 down for Yale Store. And I was saying last year, the hot round was just what he shot, a 13 down. So he's going to be very happy with that. Let's see our players here. Let's listen in. It's a live listen in right now.
I want a kombucha. What's that? Lucky 2. 2? Yeah. There we go. I had a 3. And Eagle. I had a 2. 3-2. Nice. Sayef. What did you do this? 3. Yep.
And as we see these players adding up their scorecards, there's a lot going through their minds. It's been a long day. I know Simon he said he's ready for kombucha. Not sure which brand he prefers or which flavor, but he had a rough day there, but still hanging tough in 2nd place. But Eagle McMahon made a commanding lead today, and it was just within the last final few holes. So what about today, Nate? Give us a little recap.
I mean, wow, absolutely. And it's crazy to watch it the way that we watch it because we put so much pressure on every single hole. Mm-hmm. And again, we cannot say this enough. The 16th hole becoming really a big factor in this tournament. You know, it was interesting to see Simon play this round. He seemed a little bit hesitant, birdieing the first 2 holes, which was no problem, but hitting almost a really ridiculous tree on the 3rd, and nothing looked easy for him all the way in, just shooting 8 under par. Eagle McMahon easily shooting a 13 under. Never seemed like he was in much of a problem area. Yale Store, he was the story of today, in my opinion, really dominating this group in so many ways. So happy for Yale. Looking forward to see him tomorrow. But the big story is Simon Lizotte, the way that he played and that 16th hole. So I'm really looking forward to tomorrow. We have great action on the women's side. We have great action on the men's side. So much fun stuff left to go. I am tired at this point. I haven't even done anything, but I'm looking forward to tomorrow. So great action today.
Yeah, it was. It was really fun to watch. Thank you to everybody for tuning in. Thank you to our huge staff, the crew out there. Thank you to the camera guys for following another 2 rounds for us today. We're going to be joining with the ladies again at 10 a.m. Eastern tomorrow morning, and again with the leader card of the guys at 4:45 Eastern. I'm Valerie Jenkins. This is Nate Doss. We'll see you guys tomorrow. Thanks for joining us. Have a great night.
Late.